Hello, hello. Can you hear me? I don't think you can because I don't have audio picked up. Ah, damn it. You can hear stuff now? Aw, man. Yeah. Alright. Weird. I guess y'all can hear my keyboard clickety clacketing. Man, I wish. I probably. Man. Let me see if I do news source. Um. Alright, done. Alright, so now Uh. I put my voice in the source. See if it can work. I don't know. I was trying to make this waiting scene thing, but we'll see what happens. So we'll see what happens. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Chavez, your car ready for Sunday? Let's go. We are trying to fucking D. I wish I could play music, but since Twitch is, I don't know, ban it, and then it goes on YouTube, and then YouTube gets banned. I get no money off of it, off the 8 views. So how's everyone's day? Was it all good? I gotta see if I can't mess with this chat box to see if the duration stays longer. Always show message. Let's see if we can do 100. I guess always show message done. Let's see if that works. I don't know if that works. We'll see. Yo, excited to hear this cast. Man, I hope so. I hope Damon makes it. He just shared. Oh, he got to remember how to join. So let's see. Let's see if he remembers how to do this shit. All right. Oh shit. My bad, James. I didn't mean to invite James. Shit. I wonder if I can revoke this more. Delete message. Delete. Oh Lord. Karma, yeah, the last week's episode is on YouTube already, so I had to swap my Instagram link to Twitch because I can only have one website in there. So, um, you know, today I'll have the podcast Twitch link, and then tomorrow I'll swap it back to YouTube so that people can watch last week. And then this episode should probably upload tomorrow because people kind of like the guerrilla style, no editing, just upload and go kind of thing. So I swear I'm just going to keep pumping them out. I mean, maybe I'll get to editing like a beginning or ending to them or something, but we'll see. Who knows? All right, let's see. Let's see. Where the hell is Damon? He's not even online. Oof, Colby with the links, boy. Thank you, Colby. I appreciate it. All right, let's see. Damon's online, so now let's invite him. It doesn't show that he's online. Yo. Hey, what y'all munching on? Ooh, dude, I heard James Harden wants to, he asked for a trade. He wanted to get the hell out. Munching on this glizzy. Damn, y'all rich eating sushi and shit on a Wednesday? Damn. We got to do this IT. Ooh, damn, Rad Mike. They got those kind of tacos up there in Chicago. Ryan's eating Taco Bell. Oh, that's so funny. That's funny. A pair, dude. Health is wealth, Zach. Ooh, what's up, Big Dick Jack? BDJ? Oh, damn. Really? He's already going to the Nets? Jeez. I don't watch basketball, but didn't John Wall just come from the Bullets to Houston? And I thought they were doing good. Hey, Risky, did you get spicy ketchup or regular? That's the real question. Yo, Damon, what's good? Damon just joined in the chat. Let's see if we can get his stuff working real quick. Whoa, now we got to get your audio working. Because I can't hear you for shit. But damn, you're handsome, bro. Hey, Karma. Everybody got their opinions, bro. In and out's good. John Wall, the hardest hitting safety in the league. Put the team on my back, though. Damon, oh, hold on. Let's see. What's this? Oh, you just turned off your headphones. You turned back on. You might have to find the source for your through the Discord settings. Hold on. You have yourself muted. You have to unmute yourself.
I'm unmuted.
Oh, there it is. I hear you.
Does it sound bad?
No, it sounds great.
I think it might be going through my my camera. I don't think it's even through this thing.
Oh, really? I mean, which other? It sounds fine. I think. I mean, we'll wait for chat to chime in
I
to
mean,
see.
last time it was through this thing, and everybody said it sounded terrible. So
It sounds fine to me, dude. I don't know.
I
Damn,
have this
sick.
like extra camera from
Oh,
work.
now it's going
So
through something else.
what? Did it just switch?
Yeah, I just switched.
Sounds bad now.
There's a little bit of echo, but I think I could probably turn you down.
This is what happened last time.
Yeah.
Dang, man.
Whatever you were using just prior was working really good.
Input device.
Bro, Whataburger's french fries are trash too. You gotta get the onion rings. Oh, can't hear you. You muted yourself. Nope, nothing. I just hear you. I see your lips moving. Nope. There it is. Now you're back.
Dude, what is it even? Is it working?
Yeah, but there's like a weird like echo, like not your voice echoing, but like a chandeliering like whoo, like in the background kind of thing. Oh,
I should have tried this out.
it's like if you don't talk loud enough, maybe it doesn't pick it up.
So I gotta talk quieter.
No. I don't think you're talking loud enough. But we'll see.
I gotta talk louder.
Well, I mean, like
Oh.
you start moving and then the audio catches up, if that makes sense.
Maybe I just have bad internet.
No, because it would be your audio capture information stuff. I think.
Man, pretty bad at tech.
Nah, dude.
Old,
Hold on. Let me. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Let me see. Let me see if I can't help this. Move to.
Messing with my settings.
Hold on. I mean, we'll jump in it and we'll see what chat starts saying. See how you sound with chat, because sometimes sounding with me is different than what chat thinks. So. Oh, hey, David says that it might be your microphone settings in Windows, not Discord. Have you tried that?
No,
Try
I
that.
haven't tried that.
Shout out to David. IT.
All right, yeah, dude, I'm like so bad at.
Nah, dude, it's all good. It's all good. We will get it going, brother. I gotta shut my door.
At least I'm here.
Anyways, so
I mean, Kevin. So.
yeah, hold on. All right, let's see. Oh, Kevin says you sound fine. So if Kev approves, then that's fine.
Wow.
I don't care. I just will try not to like talk over you so your audio goes through, because I think that might be an issue.
Think it's going slow?
No. It's just like I can visually see your lips move before audio chimes in. Like there's a split second there.
Seems like it'd be my internet or something.
Maybe, I don't know. Are you hardwired? Or are you just Wi-Fi in it?
Dude, I'm coordinate.
Oh, dude, coordinate. That's what I'm talking about.
Man, I'm worried.
Ah, shit. Well, how about I give you 2 more minutes to try to figure it out? Maybe your audio input.
I've been trying different ones.
Yeah. Just unplug your headset. Like unplug it and then plug it back in, and maybe that'll take it over.
Can you still hear me now?
Yeah, I can. So it's coming through your camera, so it's not going through the headphones, the speaker on the headphones. That's your issue.
I want it to be.
Yeah, so I would plug them back in and just see. Just see if it'll if Windows will find it or something.
Windows, man.
Yeah, Windows, bro, trash. But I can hear you. Can hear me through your headset, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I think it's just not using that microphone, right?
Yeah, it's just using the microphone from your camera or whatever. Yeah.
give me an option to choose my
It
this
probably.
microphone on the headphones.
Yeah, I don't think so because you have to have a separate whatchamacallit source kind of thing because I don't know if it'll pick it up since it's a headphones and whatchamacallit.
Because it's Apple headphones too.
Yeah, true. It's all right. We will roll with
They
it.
probably just purposely made it not work.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm going.
I'm new to the PC world. This is new.
Oh, are you? All right. Let me see if I switch this scene real quick. It'll put us on Twitch, just like that, huh? There. Kev keeps on saying, "Show us your face."
Were we not on there yet?
No, dude. I had a loading screen of our Stone Cold Steve Austin like picture, and it says starting soon. It was pretty sick.
I saw it when I was sitting on Twitch, waiting for my face to appear, and I wasn't in Discord because I forgot how to do it.
Dude, that's awesome. Sick, dude. Well, welcome to the podcast. I still haven't named this thing.
Oh,
so,
thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess
good to be back.
With it. Yeah. We've done a handful of these. Does your aux port work with both audio and microphone? No idea.
Dude, I don't know. It's a computer. My work gave it to me. I don't know.
Yeah, we're just gonna roll with it. Hey, Kev, you should not worry about whether it took forever or not because we were waiting for 45 minutes for your ass last week. So.
Yeah, for real. At least I got 3 kids and I was on time, man.
Damn.
Come on, Kev.
Dude, Damon, how was your day today?
It's pretty good. It's pretty busy, man.
Yeah?
Work's pretty busy, yeah. Kids are asleep. Went to bed good.
Damn, dude, at 8 o'clock?
Yeah, we start putting them down at 7:30 when they're in school.
Damn. Easy. Hell yeah, Damon's wearing Carhartt. Yeah, fuck.
That's right. Yeah, shout out to my sponsors.
Dude, that's what I was saying. I'm trying to show off my sponsors. You know what's funny? I was thinking about this. Like, you know how I was listening to Palmer's podcast, and he was talking about how he doesn't have a sponsor or whatever, and people want me to like maybe call this like the Knuckle Up podcast, but I don't want to like stuff ourselves in a corner of like drifting. I'd rather just talk, and I was like, dude, no, I should just like name it something besides Knuckle Up and then just make Knuckle Up the official podcast sponsor.
It's a pretty good idea.
I'm just going to sponsor myself, you know? And it's just like, whatever. You know? Makes sense, right?
Yeah. That's a good idea. I like that.
Big brain, right? Marketing 101.
Yeah. Oh, you got the Carhartt hat on. Not going bald tonight.
No, I usually always wear a hat, you know? It's
yeah, that's fair.
You know, it is what it is.
Yeah. You've embraced it. You've done a good job.
Yeah, thanks. It's a little white right now. I gotta get back out in the sun and tan it up, you know?
Oh man.
Then it'll get
It's snowing down there.
Dude, yeah, it snowed like almost a foot at my mom's. And then like there was like a foot of snow like in Amarillo or something like that, dude. It was pretty wild. At least for Texas.
I saw Louisiana got like 8 inches of snow or something.
Yeah. It was like weird.
More than we've gotten.
Really?
Yeah, we haven't. I mean, we've gotten more like up north, like when we go to the lake house. But at my house, I don't think we've gotten more than like 3 inches this year. It's like barely snowed.
Damn, flex, dude. The lake house.
Yeah, that's right. Not my lake house.
That's why you don't post on internet anymore, huh? There's no S13 shit to do. You just go to the lake house and drive side by sides.
Yeah. SXS.
Dude, that's tight. That's so sick. That's amazing.
It's pretty fun. It's a crazy hobby. Like, I don't know if it's really a hobby for the people that have those things, but like if you go up north, like there's just groups of like 25 of the 4-seater ones. Like those things are like almost $30,000.
Fuck, dude.
Like, what are y'all doing? Like, you guys just have like my daily driver is $1,000 car, and you guys are driving these things like
$30,000
recreational vehicles.
Yeah. Dude, that's sick.
It's crazy.
My
I don't know how you work that out.
My coworker, his like cousin, races them like the 2-seater ones. So he has like his shit all like decked out, and they do like wheel to wheel racing in these things.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, dude, talking about like, I mean, it's not like drifting expensive, but I'm like the initial investment is probably a lot.
Yeah, you don't start with $1,000 car.
Yeah, you just start off with like a $30,000 car and hope to God you don't break it.
You're ridiculous.
Dude, yeah.
Dude, I had to check on the chat. I wasn't looking at the chat.
Judging, yeah, I have chat up.
Hard.
It's pretty cool, and I have it where it's like up in the like actual screen this time. So now whenever it goes to YouTube, like we can acknowledge chat, and people are like, oh yeah, that's what they're talking about because they can see people. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, dude. Shouldn't be too bad. So I like look over to the fucking chat all the time just to see what people are shooting the shit.
Yeah, I'm
Shout
trying to figure out how I can do that.
Hey, T-Dots.
We probably got. I got a bunch of monitors and stuff.
Yeah, dude. I'm banging off 2 of them. You know, no big deal.
Yeah, I didn't do it upstairs because.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Kev,
that's where my
we're only at
desktop.
51, bro. We need to get the numbers up. Let me. I'm gonna use one of Kevin's techniques and just go live on IG, and then see what people think. Because I've already blasted all my social media on trying to market this stuff. Let's see.
Maybe just not that many people want to watch me, Kev.
Dude.
I mean, I'm not Kev, so.
Yeah, he's not your rise to mediocre fame. That's so funny.
It's more relevant, with the kids these days. I'm fast.
Edgelord, It's alright, dude. You passed your prime, but
Yeah,
hey, you still have
kids.
like really good like hopes and dreams.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is,
I mean, you sent me a picture of figuring out what headlights you want to put on your car.
Yeah. Well, so like I tried to I've gotten Ray Briggs, like Ray Brig headlights I like 6 times.
Right.
Switch them back and forth all the time. And I think I tried to order blue and they sent me clear or something. So I ended up just getting both and see like one's cooler and then I'll just get rid of the other ones.
Right. I mean, you can put it on your
I think Good.
Jokes.
I could convert it back to one via, they call it, right?
Yeah, that's what they call it, or a 240SX.
Yeah, true. Very true.
All right, well, let's did you get any good questions, like any ones that you really wanted to like think about? Or are we just gonna like spitball these things like we did last week?
No, I think we should definitely look at some of them.
Okay.
Uh,
You got a lot of Mountain Dew questions, by the way.
Yeah, should we just get that out of the way first? Or?
Dude, yeah, okay. Let's go through the Mountain Dew questions.
People might get mad. They might not be here to talk about Mountain Dew.
Dude, it's okay. This is just a warm-up, Get ourselves comfortable. Get the vocal cords stretched out. You know what we're doing? All right, what is the best Mountain Dew product that's ever been produced?
You've already, I've seen you drop it in a couple comments on social media that I am currently dieting. Wow, what do you have in there?
Water?
Oh, okay. It looked like hard liquor or something in there.
Jesus Christ, dude, chill out. No, this is for the kids, man.
It says that this is sensitive, mature content when I joined.
Yeah, you have to like make sure that, I'm not going, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not lying to the people. So.
Yeah, that's fair. So I haven't had any Mountain Dew since New Year's Day.
Damn, badass. You're 13 days in, bro.
Yeah, dude, I've made it farther than you typically do with anything I attempt like that.
Wow. So. Dude, that's amazing. I had no idea.
I haven't had any caffeine, so it's not really about caffeine. It's about getting fat. So,
Yeah, sugar, right? You gotta cut
so
the
like,
sugar out.
yeah, I go through like phases of cutting out Mountain
Yeah.
Dew.
What
Ate it
about
like a month or
candy?
two. I haven't had much candy at all either.
That's good.
Uh, if I have had any, it's been less than the recommended serving, which is it's usually like quadruple the recommended serving. So it's pretty
Jesus.
good.
I just imagine you again, like with your big ass bag of fucking Sour Patch Kids,
Dude, yes.
just grubbing.
Yeah. My our friends that we go up north with all the time and stuff that live in our neighborhood, I fixed their brakes on their car,
Yes.
and they bought me like three of those like 2 pound bags of
Fuck.
gummies. So I pretty much got those knocked out, and then I was like, all right, I got to get my life under control.
Almost OD'd. That's awesome.
Once like COVID started and like I was just at home and then I got furloughed, I was just like going hard every day. Like just that's my like stress thing. That's my
Yeah.
coping thing for sure. Like just
Antidepressant.
eat, yeah, I just eat like a total dirt bag. Like
Dude, that's sick.
yeah, so I was ripping a few cans of Dew a day and stuff.
What
So
was your favorite? What was your go-to then?
oh, so the number one is no surprise to anyone, the best ever created, besides the classic. I mean, that's not really
Okay.
can't consider the regular Mountain Dew in the running. I don't think that's a
Okay.
different animal. But the number one is Baja Blast.
Fuck yeah, it is. By
It,
far.
it has to be undisputed. Like it's the best flavor profile they've created.
So the thing
Um,
about Baja Blast is that I heard that it's a mixture of Mountain Dew and Powerade.
yeah, you told me that because I tried it out when I was in Houston.
Yeah. And so I don't know if
That
that's true,
yeah,
but
I could see it, but the only thing that kind of messed up Baja Blast for me is when they started selling it like at the store.
in the can.
Um, yeah, because then you tasted it like in its purest form, like how
Right.
it's supposed to be, and then so that made it every time I go to Taco Bell, I'm like, oh, this isn't right. Like it's watered down, or it's just not the same. But
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, Code Red is the second place,
Okay.
very close. Yeah, Code Red is also incredible. Uh, I'm pretty basic. There's people out there. There's all these like crazy.
Yeah.
Triggs drinks that one from KFC or whatever, the peach one.
The peach one. That one I had that one. It's really good actually. I completely forgot about it,
Yeah, I've never had it.
but it's
I
it
haven't.
was it
I
was
have
really good.
noticed as I've gotten older, I can't handle some of them anymore.
Oof.
Like Liam messaged me today that he was drinking Voltage, the blue one.
Ooh, I had that one. That one shit sucks. I
I
can't deal.
used to be into it. Like I used to drink that one and the Livewire, the orange one.
Ooh, Livewire.
Livewire is pretty good, but
Yeah.
like I don't really stray from the main three anymore. Pretty basic guy now.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
figured.
Amp,
That's all I've seen.
big into
Amp.
Amp.
Amp. Dude, Amp will make your heart
Amp's
fucking
great.
explode. That shit's
Dude,
like
it's not it doesn't feel as intense as Red Bull to me.
no, because it's. Yeah, I think they just like try to bump up the caffeine. They don't really put the taurine or whatever the other shit they got in there.
Yeah, it's just more like a little bit. It's an easy drinking energy drink.
Yeah.
Not like that one that Harris bought me at Longhorn
Oh,
before we went to Longhorn.
just fucking zooming.
What was that thing? It was like Black Label Mountain
I
Dew
don't
or
know, dude.
something.
I have no idea, dude.
I thought it had like cocaine in it or something because I was messed up.
Yeah, I can't
I don't
even
know.
remember what it was, but Harris is a
Yeah,
horrible enabler, so.
yeah. I'm gonna reserve. I think I'm gonna try to maybe have one on a Saturday once in a while, or
Or when
like
you come to Houston. That's cool.
exactly. If I go to
That,
Houston, yeah.
yeah, that'll be your
Uh,
very first due when you make your first trip back there.
Dude, I'm itching to get down there.
Dude, I know.
It's a tough world.
It's tough, dude. Dude, I just talked to Martino, and he said that
That's right. Yeah.
Canada is going to shut down tonight at midnight.
Yeah. I was gonna ask Liam about that. I was reading an article today that said that Ontario is going into a 4 week like
28 days.
shutdown.
Yep. So like, I was trying to get some like stickers and like finalize everything for the Knuckle Up website, and like I was like, dude, he was like, yeah, like I'm at the store right now, like printing stuff. We're about to go into like a 28-day lockdown, and I was like, holy shit, like, okay, I should have probably made this like sooner. And he was like, well, no, like I think I'll be able to like still go to work and get stuff done and ship it to you, so you'll have it. But like I was like, dude, that's crazy. Like I had no idea that Canada is about to go into 28-day lockdown.
Yeah. I guess it's not the same as here, but like our restaurants have been closed since like August or something.
Damn, really?
It's been a long time. Like and they only opened for, I don't know if it's actually August. Don't quote me on that, but like
Okay.
they opened, they shut restaurants down just for like you can't dine inside, like you
Yeah.
can do carry out.
Yeah.
And then they reopened them for like less than a month, and then they shut it back down. So like
Dude.
I haven't eaten inside a restaurant in a long time.
Dude, Texas is wild. We just do whatever the fuck we want apparently, because like I'm so unaware of like everything else happening that I'm just like, oh wow, okay, like that sucks. And like, I don't know. Or like people are like still paranoid, not paranoid, but like very cautious and stuff like that, which we should be. But like I was talking to like Proceed about Knuckle Up, and I was like, we pretty much just like invited them, but then they were like, yeah, based on like COVID stuff, like we're gonna not do anything like that. And I was like, I get it. Like I absolutely get it. Like we're being kind of irresponsible, but like also I feel we're being trying to be somewhat safe, but like, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all have been doing a lot more stuff down there than
Yeah.
pretty much anywhere else, I feel like. Like
Yeah, we've
I
been
think
pretty lucky, but
I think Michigan has like one of the strictest governors too though with all this.
yeah.
That's, as Andrew will tell you, that's why they tried to kidnap her. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
as that whole debacle. So
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't really do anything anymore. Like ever.
Yeah, I know. You just like go
Don't
to,
leave the house.
yeah, no point, dude. You got both your cars there. You got all your kids. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even. Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird.
Just going up north to the fucking lake house to go ride side by sides.
Dude, that's the best. You
Dude,
just don't.
that's sick, dude. I'm telling you, bro. I can't wait. Like, I'm waiting for the winter blues. Well, you've been in winter for a little bit now. I was hoping the winter blues you'd be like cashing out on some shit, but you just been like chilling, bro. Like, I don't need to sell no S13s. Like, they just sit there.
That's a good segue into one of the topics I got asked a lot about.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people asked about what I think, and I'll say what we think, because I think you have a strong, not a strong opinion, but a lot of experience with this.
Okay.
About the price of S13s,
Ah.
the price of parts, the drift tax.
Yes. I got those too.
all that kind of stuff.
I got let's see, where there was one good one. It was S chassis tax.
Yeah.
How hard is it to build 240s with most parts discontinued? And
Right. Yeah, so
why does the S chassis community ignore the fact that these cars are harder to find now? Like there's really good like there's a whole conversation to be had with like the jump in price like overnight essentially. That's what everyone's like overnight.
Right.
But I think it's the like for the overnight people that are saying that, I think people just haven't seen the trends or they haven't paid attention to the trends of parts over the years, because I think we've had this conversation, I don't know, like every 6 to 12 months where we would know like Ganadors went from like $250 to $400, and then $400 to $500. We're like, fuck, dude, like, and now they're $1,000 a pair, and so it's something we've noticed, but it like once it hits like a price that most people are like, that's a little bit too much. Like, I don't want to pay that. That's when I think people start like really, like voicing their opinions on it.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of factors. I think one of the factors is a lot of people that are trying to build S13s. I mean, I guess S chassis in general, but I think specifically S13s are people like my age that are coming back to it now.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of people in their like early mid 30s, even late 30s that maybe had a few S13s or had an S13 and had to sell it to buy a house or sold it when they had a kid or, like all that standard stuff. And they're like getting back into it now. So I think like a lot of the core group that's trying to build these cars, they're older now, they have a stable job. They kind of got their life situated a bit. So they've got more money to spend on some of this stuff. Yep. And they're not afraid to pay whatever, they'll see something listed at a crazy price and they're like, oh, that's how much that is now.
Because they've been out of the scene.
Right. But I also think at the same time, there's a lot of those people that come back and they're like, what? Like, why is this real? Like, why Ganadors are $200? Why are they $1,200 now? Yeah. Like, I've had people message me with that kind of stuff too. Like, especially if I sell something like, what? That's insane. Like, what? That's how much that is. We used to throw those away. And I'm like, that's why. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like,
I don't.
The demand is high and the supply is low.
Yeah, and I don't know. It seems at the same time, it seems like there's a lot of young people building S13s that are paying big money for stuff. So maybe what I'm saying doesn't make any sense.
No, and I think there's like there's like, you could say two sides of the coin with that, because I think also there's been a lot of, we're in the age of influencers. So we have people like Adam LZ or who else, the Jimmy Oaks or whatever other YouTubers that are on the West Coast or whatever. I think kids, they watch these guys and they just say, hey, these guys, they have these cool items. Oh, they're paying this. This is just what, like, I want to do what they're doing. So we're just going to follow suit. And, that's just that they see that. And it's the same thing as the older guys going into the scene, coming back to the scene, that they realize, or they don't realize, but they notice, oh, I guess this is just the pricing. So then they just, that bumps up the price, right? And all it does is take, one or two popular sales, and then for some reason that bar just like is set. It's just like that S13 that got sold on Bring a Trailer, right? That dude, sold the S13. It was a stock S13, and some guy bought it for $30,000, dude. I sold essentially the exact same car for $8,000 a year prior.
Which was crazy,
right?
Like,
I didn't really see that car in detail. I know mine probably wasn't in as good condition, but if you have a car that sold for $30,000, then you can kind of scale on what your car is. And that car that I sold, that could have been a $15,000-$20,000 car, if I would have just like sat on it or something like that. But also, I think it's outrageous for, someone to buy a stock 89 S13 for $8,000, but that's what the market was at the time. Some people had been selling theirs for $8,000, $10,000, $12,000, and I thought $8,000 was at the lower tier, so that's what I marked it as, and it sold. And just sure enough, someone bought it for the price that I thought, and maybe that bumped it up. So
right. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like I think Lawrence is his name, that lives out on the West Coast now, that was from Indiana, that's got a white 240 hatch on Graham lights. He's the one that I saw post that black hatch like a month or so ago that sold on Bring a Trailer for like $19,000.
Yes, the one with all the replica parts.
Right, yeah, and that one really, like, because I don't really follow like bring a trailer or
Me
any of that
neither.
stuff. Like,
Me neither.
I don't know. It's just not cool. I just don't have any interest in. It's probably a lot of it stems from just I've like hit life where I'm only into S13s probably forever now. Like
Sure.
I don't have that like interest in any other car anymore. So I don't like just looking at stuff for no reason. But um, yeah, when I saw him share that, I was like, dude, that looks visually like exactly like my car.
Right.
It's all really cheap stuff and that sold for that much money. It's a single cam still. Like it had a lot lower miles than my car, but I think that one was repainted too.
Yeah, yeah, that car was painted. Yeah, it was
'Cause I
repainted.
kind of thought like, oh, these cars are selling for that much money because they're collectors that want one that's low mileage, completely stock.
Yeah.
I think that's what was surprising about that one to me was like, oh, that's not even a stock car. It's not even original paint. Like,
No, it's not. No, because they had to
that,
repaint all the aero and they just repainted that whole car. I mean, good on the dude. Like, I can't hate. I know a lot of people get upset because they're like, dude, that guy sold that car for 30 grand and yada yada yada. And I mean, I've seen that. I guess he bought that car for like pennies, dude. He bought it for like less than 3 grand or somewhere around there, right? And he cleaned it up and sold it. I mean, like, what would you do? You'd be dumb not to. And the people that would be like, oh yeah, like, no, I would have kept it. I'm like, you can still find those cars, but you won't be able to find a chance to sell one for 30 grand like that. So
right,
sell the car for 30 grand. Now you have 30 grand. Go find another one and build it. And you just like essentially built a $30,000 car for 3 grand, right?
right.
I don't think a lot of people see the bigger picture sometimes with that stuff. But yeah, just like as time goes on, there's going to be less supply and more of a demand. And yeah, I mean prices are just going to skyrocket. Like you just can't find the stuff. Like even SRs, dude. People keep blowing up SRs. Like the prices of SRs jump from like you can get like a S15 SR for like 4 grand. Now you can't. You can barely get a S13 SR for 4 grand.
Right.
That's
And
red top.
they're also old now that it's like not gonna be any good. It's like
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. The expired theory, right? Where it's like
Like,
it's just they've hit 30 years old and now they're just like something in the energy of the engine just like expired and they're no good.
right. That's kind of how I feel. Like I'm sure mine are like that. I just never. Oh, I might have messed up.
What'd you change?
I was trying to see the chat. I
Uh,
had it muted, but maybe it was.
oh yeah, that's
My
probably
bad.
why it's picking up on your
All right, guys.
camera.
I'm just gonna ignore the chat. Sorry.
You can put Twitch on, pause it, and then chat will still flow.
Oh, okay. Gotta pause it. I had it muted, but it must have just muted me. I wasn't hearing you, but
Oh.
must have been doing something silly. Yeah, I think that's always been an interesting stance that people take to me is like people get mad about people selling parts for a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I understand the frustration of it, but I don't know, you can't. I mean, if somebody pays that for something, you can't get mad at the person for selling it.
Yeah. No, you can't. Like, I don't think people's intentions are to like post something for sale and then like their goal is to like hike up this price, right? They're just trying to get the most money they can, and someone was willing to pay for it, right? Like
Right.
their intentions were to try to make money, recoup the money that they spend, or maybe make some money. It's a business, so like it is what it is. You can't knock the hustle. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Right, and I get it. Like it's crazy frustrating. Like I feel that same way about parts that are a ton of money now that like I had years ago or something. And if I think about getting it again, it's like, oh yeah, I can never spend that on it. Um, I get that, but it's the stuff selling. Like
Right.
every step that it goes, like Ganadors and um, Zeros and Maxis seats and stuff like that, they keep selling. So it's like you can't fault the person selling it. It's you can't ask everybody to. I should sell everything at like what was a fair price 5 or 10 years ago out of the goodness of my heart, kind of
Right.
thing. Like, and I'm somebody that's all about like helping the community and trying to help other people with these cars and like everybody sharing that kind of community. But that just doesn't work. Like, it's not possible, and I don't know.
Right.
It's you can't get mad at people for it because that's I mean that's literally how I built that coupe, like buying and selling stuff.
Yeah, that's how
I
I built the stupid. That's how I like had all this money to buy all this shit for the S13. Like,
yeah, I couldn't have done it any other way. Like, and a lot of people don't, like you said, a lot of people don't see that picture. Like, they see a car as a car, and it's worth X as a complete car,
right.
and they don't see the individual pieces, or the car doesn't start, so it must be worth nothing. Like, you got to kind of think through, do some spreadsheets like we always talk about, and
Yep.
like figure it out. And it is a lot of work. I mean, to part out a car, it's like I've got to ship like 200 or 300 packages to people and like track all of it, and it's definitely time consuming. But I wouldn't be able to have a second car without doing that. Like,
No, yeah, I couldn't either. Like, not at all. I just had to, like, I don't know, just like part out
but I'll
a
also
shitload of stuff.
say, right. But I'll also say too, like I I did that over the last 2 years, and I couldn't have done that last year in 2020. Like,
Oh, dude, no, not at all. Like,
everything's
everything died last year. I couldn't do anything. Like, I mean, I could have, but like, I like the person-to-person interactions and like shipping stuff, or like even just trying to go get a car, it just wouldn't have worked.
right. Like, I think it's that, and what's happened to the pricing in the last year too, I think is crazy. To where like any cars I saw for sale in Michigan anymore, which was barely any, like since all this started, like since last March, I haven't
Yeah,
even like seen S13s for sale. But when I have, it's like they're on to what's going on, and it's
yeah,
like this thing is totally destroyed and rotted out, and I want 8 grand, and it has no interior, and it's like
yeah.
I won't make any money off something like that. But
Right.
I do think, like, I tell people a lot, that's the best. I don't know if that's still the best way, but that's how I got the SR swaps for both of my cars, was from running cars that I bought the whole car, and
Yep.
the car itself was trashed
Yep.
and smashed up and rusted out and everything. But I could drive it home and like see, okay, it runs and drives and it sounds healthy, and sell all the stuff you don't need and keep the drivetrain. It's like kind of
Yeah.
the way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, like, that was the only way for me to like try to buy an SR swap at the time, was that I had a rolling shell essentially, and I couldn't find an SR, and I found like a SR car for 4,800 bucks, and the goal was just to swap the SR into the shell and then part everything else out. But then like I wind up getting that car, and it was like really nice, and it would just wind up being the car, and I sold everything else. But I running, driving, coilovers, running S15 SR, like $4,800. Like, that was cheaper than buying an S15 and trying to install it and to get it running. They still sound echoing, so we might need to refresh something here.
Mm.
So let me see this real quick. Hold on. All right, let's see. They say I'm echoing really, really bad, so we'll see. I don't know what's going on. We didn't have this issue yet last time.
It's got to be something on my end, I assume.
Maybe. Now that it says it's better, so we'll just Okay, we're just gonna keep on then. We're gonna keep it going. We'll see what happens here. I need to get a like a mix amp or some shit. So I don't know. We'll see. But you know, it is what it is. Like I don't know. I think it sucks for the young guys trying to get into it and like trying to replicate what they see because I don't think they ever talk to like the guys who actually own the cars or like don't talk to them like, hey, you know, like how much would it be to build your car or whatever, and then you know someone says, oh, it'll be like 30 grand, 35 grand, and they're like, oh yeah, whatever, like you're just pulling my leg kind of thing, but it's like, no, dude, like I have the spreadsheets, like I can tell you exactly what everything is essentially sells for or bought for or what it's valued at, so you know, and then they're like, oh damn, like, you know, I can't afford that or anything like that, and then they go buy like some clapped out car because they have some pipe dream that they can like rebuild it cheaper, and or if they just like, you know, whatever, but it just doesn't work, dude. It just like to get something quality, it costs a lot of fucking money, and they like younger guys just don't wrap their head around it, and you know now you can go get like I don't know, some kind of fucking new age car and do the same shit.
Right. Yeah, I think you have to be like I think it's what Kev said last time. Like you have to be super committed to building an S13 to do it now. It's not the same as it was 10 years ago where you could buy a stock running S13
Yep.
and like throw wheels and coilovers on it and go have fun or whatever. Like they don't, I mean, in some parts of the country, I do think they still exist, but like I know they definitely don't where I'm at. It's very rare to find a running, driving stock S13.
Yep.
Like if you do, it's going to be
Absolutely.
rotted out. But
Yep. Absolutely. Like I just had someone message me today. There was like a PS13 coupe that was like for sale locally, and they had like messaged me. They're like, "Hey, I'm gonna go look at this car. What should I look out for?" And you know, it was like it was import. It looked fairly stock, but like um, I just like from the pictures I saw, it was like crack dash. It's right hand drive, so that's gonna be a pain in the ass to like get right. Um, but I've heard horror stories of like Japan like fiberglassing frame rails to make them look like they're solid whenever like because you coat the undercoating right, so it's just like fiberglass, and then they put the like the coating on it, and then like it just looks like it's all there, but it's like there's nothing there, like there's no frame rail, like it's fucked, and just like all the rust pocket spots and shit like that. So he like had told me he went and go checked it out, and he said it was rough, and he offered like 2 grand less than what the car was worth, but um uh he was like, yeah, like it might be better if I just spend more money to try to find something that was like less work, which is like the ideal thing. Like then you go into the conversation of are you a builder or are you like a driver? Do you want to you know like spend the time um like building the car, or are you trying to like spend the time like driving the car and like having a good time with it? And that's like a whole different conversation. So
yeah, for sure. And I think that's a part of it too that I hear people talk about a lot is the whole drift tax thing. And I don't really, I don't know that it's not a thing. I guess I don't even totally fully understand what the term is supposed to mean. Like, I don't know if it means everybody used S13s for drifting and wrecked them all, so now there aren't any left. Or does it mean like everybody thinks drifting's cool now, so they want an S13?
I think it's the
Uh,
latter, but
okay.
I think the everyone drove them, so now they're no longer around, so parts are rare. That's the actual effect of the drift tax and stuff like that, and I think that's why um, people, at least people that are the ones that are wanting to drive, they've moved on to other chassis and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I never really fault drifting. I mean, maybe I think I'm a rare case of somebody that I'm more of into building these cars and just using it as a car. Like it's not a I
Yeah,
don't drift or do any of that stuff. Um, but I don't really feel that. I think there were just as many people that don't drift ruining these cars as people that drift. Like,
Absolutely, absolutely. I think people like. I hate to put the blame on it, but it's the young kids that go in and they're over their head and they have no mechanical skills, or they didn't learn any. They jumped too far forward into what they were trying to achieve, and they got themselves into a hole or whatnot, and then they have to get out of it. So then they're learning on these cars because they're cheap and affordable, but now you can't because the parts aren't no longer available and the cars aren't available. So then like prices go up, and now you can't. And now that's why you see all these 350Zs that are like fucked up because they're it's like that new meme where it was like first owner versus seventh owner. It's like the first owner was like a businessman, and like the seventh owner is like some 16-year-old kid that's like just got his license but just bought a $3,000 350Z that I don't know. It's like
yeah,
we talked about it last week in the podcast where it was like we want to like help kids like kind of like figure out like what they're like kind of guide them, and like just trying to be approachable where like people can like come and talk to you. And like I think you've done a really good job over the years of being like the good guy on the internet, and like always presenting yourself well and like professional and like a dad and stuff like that. So I know you get like a lot of DMs and you like answer people and stuff like that, and like we definitely need more people like that. But I know as time goes on, like responsibilities change and whatnot, so like that torch has to be passed to other people that are like able to do what you did. So
yeah, and I do feel bad. I think there's a lot of people in the community around S13 specifically that still to this day are like, yeah, kids are ruining them, or kids ruined them all. And it's like at this point, I don't even know that there's that many kids even messing with S13s anymore. Like
right.
it's like those kids are probably like late 20s, early 30s now. And so it's like maybe that's the case, but I remember that. I mean, I think more specifically around like skateboarding. Like I grew up skateboarding, and
Mm-hmm.
I have learned from all the amazing people in Houston that I was never good at skateboarding at all.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dudes down there that are like, I see like Kip's videos and stuff, and all those guys, and I'm like, man, they're like really good. Like I was never good. I must have been like a poser for sure, because
Yeah,
I was in
there's like
good.
it's like you never get fully invested or spend enough time getting good at something, so then you just like bail
Right.
out.
But I remember being into that, and I think a lot of people talk about this, that drifting and like kind of S13s, like car culture in general, has a lot of parallels to skateboarding, where it's sort of like rebellious in a way. Like it's different than society. It's kind of like countercultural in a way. And I remember like as a kid being into skateboarding, being so frustrated that everybody was just blanket as you're a bad kid. Like
Yep.
you probably do drugs because you
Yeah.
skateboard, and I
Right.
was like such a dork. Like I've still never drank or smoked or like any of that. And I was a
Yeah.
good kid and stuff. And that used to really frustrate me. So I try to like remember that about S13s and stuff. If like young people are reaching out to me, or just try not to like badmouth blanket statements like, oh yeah, kids ruined all the cars, or kids,
Right.
did this, because it sucks when you're not that kind of person to be
Right.
labeled as that.
Right.
Um, it's frustrating, but I would say like I'm shocked like how many DMs I get from kids that are like even like 15, 16 up to 20, like that like got an S13 as their first car like last year or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Like,
Still.
dude, that's impressive. And you can tell like most of the people, almost everybody that messages me, you can tell that they've done their homework and that they really want to build the car right, and they want it to be nice. Like it's not, I guess that kind of goes with my whole demeanor and like what I'm about anyway. So I probably wouldn't get messages from people that are like doing crazy stuff to the cars that I'm not into. It
Yeah.
makes sense that they're
Oh
like
yeah.
minded
Absolutely.
to me.
Yeah.
But I'm always really impressed with young people that are like, oh yeah, I'm trying to make my S13 like yours, or like I just got it and I'm trying to save up to make it nice. Like, what should I do first and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm always really impressed with that, because like I got mine, a hatch when it was right before I graduated college. So I think I was like
21, 22.
20, I think I was almost 22 when I
Yeah.
bought it. And that's way different. I mean, that age gap between like a 16-year-old to a 22-year-old is a big difference. Like you're not a full mature adult typically at 22, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive. Like I would have made my car so ugly if I got it when I was 16.
Dude, yeah, that's crazy because that's the same thing that I was saying last week too. That like I didn't jump into like drifting or any of that stuff until after I was like almost done with school or like done with college. And like the
Yeah,
S13, my first S13, like I didn't start doing anything to it until I was out of school and like had money, so I could buy quality stuff. But
yeah,
like during that time where I didn't have money, like all I was doing was like on Zilvia studying, like figuring out exactly what I wanted to do. So like at that moment, whenever I did have the money, like I had kind of like mentally jumped or mentally went through all those like shitty ideas that like the young kids usually do when they have little to no money. Where like, you know, like I wouldn't have like plastic dipped my car because that was popular at the time, or like buy fake wheels, or like anything like that. You know, I kind of like, oh, okay, well I have money and I'm a little bit more mature. Like I can afford like these wheels, like these whatevers, or like you know, I want like authentic arrow because I know it'll probably fit better because I've read so many horror stories online, kind of thing. So yeah, it's just a different day and age kind of thing, like different where you
right.
start.
Yeah, and I think that kind of helped me have sort of the I never there aren't many things I look back at the cars I've had that I feel now are like really tacky or like
Hmm.
nicer or whatever. But I think that was because I got a Camry in high school, and that's like
Yeah, you had the beater and you kind of like did all the dumb shit on that thing.
I kind of did it on that. But even the stuff I did do wasn't like that dumb, and it was because like there was a forum, like Toyota Nation was the forum, and like
Yeah.
there was a section for that year, that generation Camry, and it was like you couldn't do any of the stuff that you would do to an S13 that was popular
Right.
at the time.
Right.
Like you didn't put like a melon shooter muffler on it, or a fart can, as they'd say.
Melon
Uh,
shooter. That's awesome. We should bring that one
yeah,
back.
yeah, or like an aluminum wing or like graphics or anything, because
Right.
everybody on there was like, listen, like you have a Camry, no
You're
one
already,
respects that.
yeah, you're already at the bottom of the barrel kind of thing, so you have to like,
Right. So if you're gonna do stuff to it, it's got to be super subtle and tasteful.
yep.
Um, so you want like a polyurethane front lip and like all this stuff that is like really chill and like not aggressive and not
Yeah.
wild looking.
Right. You
So that
want it
kind
like,
of beat that into me. Like,
right.
oh, I don't want anything like gaudy or flashy because nobody respects this car to begin with.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't
Cuz
know.
yeah.
And then, but I also like in high school there were kids that had Civics, like EK Civics was like I wanted a Civic SI so bad
Same.
in high
Same.
school.
EM1 baby.
Yeah, yep, Electron Blue Pearl,
Yep. Yep. Everybody wanted one.
sick. There are a couple kids that had them with like fiberglass body kits and like Altezas and exhaust and like Terminator 2 wing and like
Ooh,
all this
boy.
sick stuff.
That shit was
Yeah. So
sick
like
back then.
when I was building like model cars of like I had a Civic model like that. Probably a bunch of people had the standard like Black Widow body kit, and I like painted it like neon green and stuff.
Sick.
Like I, and I used to make drawings of my Camry all the time with like that kind of stuff on it, but like I
Yeah.
didn't have any money to do
Right.
that, so
Yeah.
it's probably for the best that I didn't have any money. So
No, absolutely. Like growing up, the neighbors, there was like two neighbors that I had. They were brothers, and they were like 2 years apart, and they were one of them was 1 year older than me, so they were like older, but they got their cars first or whatnot. And one of them had a EK coupe, and the other one had a EG or EJ coupe or whatever you call it. But they both like riced them out and stuff like that. And then like as they got old, like they like tried to put a turbo kit on one of them, and it blew it up. And like I was kind of like living vicariously through them, and I saw they put the big aluminum wing on it and shit like that. And like I kind of saw like all that shit, but then also like I also saw a bunch of other cool things like away from civics, and I was like, oh, that shit's not really like that's that cool anymore. Really, like, it was cool, but like maybe we were like 5 years too late on that whole trend. So yeah, living
Yeah, that's true.
vicariously through or like experiencing those like faults, whether that's like you do them or you see them else, like I think that's like a big learning step to like not waste time and like waste a chassis and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know. It's kind of weird how it came to be for me because I didn't have I'm like a bit older than you, so like
Yeah.
I think Fast and Furious came out when I was like sophomore in high school. And so like
The first
I
one
saw that. Yeah.
in '01.
Yep. Because I graduated high school in '04.
Oh,
So
okay. All right, yeah. That makes sense.
but I remember watching it, like renting it with my brother and my cousin, and we were all really into cars, and like we kind of like just laughed at it the whole time. But mostly because I had this like training from the forums that like that stuff wasn't cool
Yeah.
because of having a Camry or whatever. But I like low key actually thought it was all sick. Like, like thought all that stuff was really cool, but I couldn't do it to my car kind of thing.
Right.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and
I don't
I
know.
don't know. By the time like because I had my Camry till college and I did like dumb exhaust and
Supercharger
I
and
tried to make it. Yeah, well that was my Solara. So that was like the Camry was a four-door automatic four-cylinder like
sick.
basic 94 Camry. And I did like lowering springs and struts that I had a shop install and like I did headers
Yeah.
and a cat back, like a front lip and just like really basic stuff. I thought it was like so wild at the time. Like I was like, oh yeah, it's lowered, I have to be careful. And it was like lowered like an inch. Like it
Yeah.
was just like feet off
Whoa.
the ground still.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then like I took it to a shop. I didn't work on it myself really much at all. Like I didn't know how to do anything. Just like change my oil and stuff, and that was it. Um, I took it to this shop in Illinois. It was like 7 hours away to pay them to manual swap it. And it pretty much like this other guy worked there and had a supercharged Camry that blew up and he parted it out. So I bought his manual swap
Yeah.
and they were going to put it in for me. And they called me. It was on my Christmas break in college, and they called me and they were like, I think they, looking in hindsight, like they just didn't want to do it. Like,
Yeah.
this is so dumb. Like, why are we manual swapping
Yeah.
this like super old stock Camry? But at the time, they told me they were like, yeah, your rear main seal's leaking, and like the car's so rusty, which like it wasn't that rusty at all. Like they were like, we just can't do it.
Yeah.
They said like it's gonna be 1,000 instead of 500.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's fine. And then they were like, no, like we can't do it. Like we're not going to do it. So I ended up making my brother drive me 7 hours to Illinois and back for an oil change because that's basically all they did.
God damn.
But that's when I realized, like, I had gotten some inheritance at that time
Yeah.
uh, from my
Cash
grandpa that
out.
I didn't even know. Yeah. So, like, I told my mom, like, I was really bummed out and I was like, Mom, they said my car's like basically going to blow up. Like, I need to buy a new car because it's basically junk now, is like what I didn't really totally believe that, but I was like, I
Lying.
don't know. And my mom was like, all right, I mean, like, don't go buying like a new Corvette or something.
So you bought a
And
Solara,
yeah, so I got the Solara, and I think it was like
a two-door
it was like
Camry,
six. Yeah, and it was a V6, so I was hyped on that because it wasn't a four-cylinder
big
anymore,
body.
and
I mean, big engine, big displacement.
that's right, 3.0 liter, baby. That thing felt fast from a Camry, but it was also a manual. So I was like, that was the first manual car that I owned, and that's what I had for like most of college, and that's
Yeah.
the one that I like built up pretty quick and did all this like TRD stuff, like the supercharger and the aero kit and all this stuff because I had money finally, uh, and I was an idiot in college, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna build this car. Like I finally have the means to like build a nice car,
Yep.
um, like I want, and I think it was a really cool car,
It
but
looked great for a Solara. I mean, like, you know,
people always thought it was an S15.
yeah, dude. Before
I
the
don't know,
hype.
but like it was right. So like it was pretty cool, but it hit a point. That again, that's a car with like only so much aftermarket, so it hit a point pretty quickly, like after like a year and a half or something, where there wasn't really anything left you could do to it.
Yeah.
Like I did the black interior swap and like supercharged it and all this stuff, and it was basically done.
Yeah.
And my friends had S13s,
Right.
and that was like my first exposure to him. The guy that used to tune the Solara at his shop and stuff was building a 240, and I rode in one of those at a dyno day.
Yeah.
It made the same power that my Solara made. It made less power than my Solara, but it felt so fast.
Yeah, dude. It
Just because
gripped up and shit and
yeah, it was raining, so it was like he was kind of sliding all over, and I was like, dude, this is cool. And
yeah.
that was the first like I knew what a 240 was and stuff, but
Yeah.
I didn't really know much of anything about them. And so I started thinking about getting rid of my Solara and getting one, but I didn't want to part with that car. Like I really liked it. I get really attached to my cars, so
Big time.
I didn't
You
want to get
attach
rid of it.
anything like these nuts.
So, and then I ended up getting rear-ended, and it got totaled.
Cashed out. Easy.
And insurance gave me a check for like the same price I bought it for, I think. I drove it for like 2 years, so that was sweet. So that was like the weekend that I proposed to Alicia is when it got totaled.
Yeah, it sure did.
I was almost done with college, and so we talked a ton about it. Like, maybe you should just be like banking all this money for us to get a house and like not get another car. And I almost did that, but I have no self control, so
You
I
don't.
didn't.
Yeah. You have no self control.
But I also kind of thought like selfishly, like I was like, I'm gonna get married and like probably have a kid, and I'm never gonna get a car again. Like
Yep.
it's now or never. So I kind of convinced Alicia to let me get the 240, and I told her it wouldn't be like a piece of crap, and
He's
it
a
would.
big old piece of shit.
It broke down like a week after I got it. I couldn't drive
Jeez.
it. It wouldn't start. Yeah.
But now look, you got 3 kids, 2 S13s, balling.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird how stuff works out.
Yeah, dude, it all worked out. You always like stress about all that shit, and then like, I don't know, it always like works out. I always freak out, and I'm like, dude, I literally have like all this money just sitting here. Like I should just like turn this, like, just like, I don't know, paperweight into like cash.
Yeah.
So I sell it, and then like, I don't know, what do I go do? I go buy another car with the cash that I sold everything for. So it's just like whatever. But it's, I don't know. I get bored or like, I don't know. But as time goes on, I've gotten a lot better about not like just selling the stuff and whatever. So I don't know.
That's how I've gotten to. I think especially in the last year, just because the price of everything feels like it's really, really shot up. Like it's been happening for a while,
Yeah.
but the last year, it just feels like
Yep. Right.
everything's gotten out of control. Like
Yeah, absolutely. And like it's funny because like I'm surprised I haven't just been like, oh, prices are up, fucking cash out. But then like I start to think, well, if I just keep on holding out or like just hold on to what I have, price is probably only going to keep going up. So
right.
yeah, I don't know. It's just like
I see. I don't feel like I feel I'm at the stage in life combined with the cost of all these things that if I got out, I'm never coming back. Like,
oh yeah, for
it's
sure. Like yeah.
I'll never get back into these cars if I get rid of them now.
After
There's
this
just
year,
no way.
yeah, there's just like I can't justify it unless I come up on like some crazy deal or like the fact that essentially like I could sell everything and then import one, but going through the headache of trying to find like right-hand drive parts for like a vehicle already with a Skyline is just like, dude, it's such a pain. And with like COVID, like shipping has like jumped exponentially. Like I've just stopped looking at Yahoo Japan because there's no point, because the money that we were saving by buying parts in Japan and shipping them over, it's gone. Like you can probably find someone that's like maybe just trying to get out or like sell it or sell something or whatever for the same price you would buy the shit in Japan now. So and so like there's no benefit of like trying to get out and you know, I don't know, whatever.
Right. Yeah, I haven't really done any Yahoo stuff in a long time either, just
Dude,
because.
the only time I was on Yahoo was I was looking for wheels and I came across those SSRs that were like fairly cheap, and I bought them. But then as shipping came over, it was like shipping was just as much as the wheels. And then whenever I went to sell them, like I just broke even on them. Like usually anything on Yaws I buy, there's always like some kind of like, I don't know, you can always make like 15% or something like that just for like the time that you spent looking for the, you know, stuff like that. That's what I kind of, you know, count it as, but not anymore, dude. It's just yeah, it's better to just try to find the stuff in the States. Like I was watching this Joey's videos, right? He does those videos, and he did the one with Jaime and with Little D, right? Because Little D built that that hatch.
Yeah.
And his hatch is on like super small wheels, and he made the comment, he was like, yeah, like y'all's just too expensive. Like I just found these wheels on eBay. Like I searched for months and months, and you know, sure enough, someone posted them on eBay, and I found them. And so like I was looking at eBay for stuff, and I found some really good deals. Like there's like a lot of people that I guess are just you can, if you import in bulk, there's a little bit of, you know, there's a business there that you can do, and I think people that are capable of doing that. I think that's a good way of just like if someone imports a bulk load of shit and then they sell it here in the States, it's cheaper than doing individual stuff like by yourself. So you kind of just have to be on the lookout now. The search is a little bit harder, but I don't know. It's just not the same anymore. Where we were finding like, you know, Blitz 03s for like $400 for a set, you know?
Right.
It's just gone. So
Yeah. And I think I was, I don't remember when I started using Yahoo Japan, but like I think I was pretty late to it, even me. Like I think there were people doing it before that.
I want to say it was probably like, I don't know, 2013, 2014, whenever I started using it. And you know, I don't know if Streeter's in the chat this week, but shout out to Streeter, because he like makes
not Joker, so he's not in here.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't know. Did I tell you? Side note: someone posted the link to the podcast in a Noriaro Discord like server, and that's how Jesse found it. It was like really weird. I was like, okay, that was like, yeah, okay. But anyways, but no, like, yeah, I mean, we used Streeter for a long time there, and like, oh, dude, Nick was the one that posted it. Dude, thank you so much, man. Like, I got to talk. Yeah, dude, I got to talk with Jesse a little bit like that night after, and like, dude, it was like really cool. So thank you so much for that. But yeah, like Streeter, you know, I mean, Streeter's still like hook it up. Like he'll be able to get you anything, but you know, if you're willing to like pay essentially retail, because the money you're saving is spent on shipping because of COVID now. I mean, it's okay, you know. So I don't know. It's just a whole thing. Talking about little wheels, right? You put little wheels on your coupe, but I sent you a picture of a S13 on TEs this week, and you're like 17s on inbound. And I got that question a lot with like small wheels on S13s or whatnot, and I'm sure you probably got that too. So what's your what's your, I don't know, thinking on that?
Um, I I don't know. I think one of the big appealing things to it with putting the coupe together was that the car's already four lug, so like
Cheap.
it's that saves a lot of money because
Yeah,
if you go five lug, and I knew I was going to do Z32 brakes and
it's a rabbit
your
hole. You
wheels are
go
more expensive. Yeah, it's
tires,
and
then you go brake lines, rotors, pads, hubs, the whole shebang.
I ended up right, which I ended up like doing pretty much all that stuff, but just like stock S13 brakes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I've never really been into small wheels.
Yeah,
I've
me neither.
never thought that was very appealing. I think like on a 180 with like a Zenki front, it's really cool.
No,
Um,
I can't like.
and
I don't know. It's just like I don't know. It's weird.
I shouldn't even say it's really cool. Like I like it a lot more now than I did a few years ago.
Right.
I never had any interest in it at all. And really, I never even had interest in like Zenki fronts or anything for the last couple of years.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I the mention of Elvis in the chat. That's like
Yeah.
what I was just gonna say. That was obviously a huge influence for me.
Yep.
Uh, I thought his car looked super cool,
Yeah.
and that kind of turned me on to it a little bit. That was definitely a big part of it. I started talking to him. I think before I got my coupe, because I think he
Yeah.
got his hatch first,
Yeah. Because
and
he was talking to you about the hatch.
yeah, and
Right.
I knew who he was. Like I knew what Stance Nation was, but that was never, it was actually something like me and Kyle used to kind of joke about, like back in the day, like uh, when my Blitz 03s got rebuilt, they were wrong the first time, and they were the wrong offset in the rear.
Yeah.
They were like +8 instead of +20
Yeah.
when I first got them, so it was just like a ton of camber to fit them and stuff.
Yep.
And Kyle and I were like, "Oh man, it's like Stanch Nation, dude!" Like, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
not not really what I was going for. So I knew what it was, but it that was always a little more wild. Those cars were a little more wild than like what I was really into. But yeah, we started talking when he got his hatch, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of interesting. Like, he's a really nice guy." Um, so I chat with him from time to time. But yeah, I thought his coupe looked really cool. I liked the idea. It was him and uh, 8IHP, I think is his username. Feel bad I don't know his real name, but he has a black Sylvia in like New England area
Okay.
that he actually went five lug and has TEs on it now. But yeah, yeah, in the chat, mate IHP. I don't know if that's how you say it, but he has a
Yeah.
black Sylvia that had some 15-inch works on it. Not the equips. He had some different ones. Like I don't remember which model, but one of their current like small
Yeah.
wheels that they make
Okay.
right now. And I really liked the fitment on both of those cars. I thought it looked really cool with the Sylvia front and stuff. Um,
SSR Mark
so,
threes.
oh really?
Yeah, that's what they just said.
Yeah,
Boosted
on
Honda
it,
Civic.
but I don't know. But I really like both those cars, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of into this. Like, it's something a little different that I haven't done on an S13 myself before. Like, it's
Right.
not really different. Obviously, there's two dudes that I listed that had pretty much identical setups. Like, they both
It
helped
was
me out a
different
lot
for
with
you.
right.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted it to be. I still had the same. At the end of the day, they're both the same car. Like, they're both a
Yeah.
stock red top SR and OEM aero, pretty
Yeah.
chill interior
Yeah.
and wheels. Like,
Yep.
doesn't even make sense to have both of them, but other than it's just cool. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, that was something that I could do it a little bit differently and still think it looks cool.
Right.
And I really like it. Like my hatch hasn't been on the ground. It'll be like 2 years in June. Well, it won't be because I'm not
Jeez.
going to let it go that long. But
Damn.
so I haven't even seen that car on the ground. But every time I go in and out of the garage, like I really like the look of the coupe a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but and I do feel like I'll probably end up if it sticks around, I'll probably end up going five lug and doing 17s on it someday.
Yeah.
But I really want to see it with these wheels painted.
Yeah.
I have no clue when that's going to happen. So
Well,
I think like I
yeah.
put that car together fairly fast. So everybody kind of still messages me like, yeah, I can't wait to see it painted. Or like, is it going in for paint? And I'm like, no, like
Yeah. Nah,
it's
it'll
not
never
right
be.
now. I don't know. Yeah, if I ever, I'll be shocked if I ever actually get the car painted.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Like,
It's just
I'd be so impressed with myself. Like there's certain tasks that I feel like I can never overcome, and
painting the
getting a car
garage.
painted is
Yeah,
yeah,
anything in the
exactly.
garage getting painted, no, it's never gonna happen.
It was the same with the GS 400 that I tried to build. Like it's one of those things where like from the very beginning you're never gonna actually do it.
Right, like you already like set your limit. You're like, okay, well, like I'll get to this point. I know I will be happy once I get to this point, but I'll never like go past that.
Right.
But you tell
And
yourself like, oh
so
yeah, it'll get painted one day, but deep down, like you just don't want to like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's how I feel about both of my cars getting painted, but
yeah,
that's like the main reason I've considered like not as much recently, but definitely at times last year when I was finishing getting the coupe on the road, like
yeah,
getting it running and driving and stuff. I was like, man, I should part out my hash so I can like bank a bunch of money and actually paint a car properly.
yeah.
But
I was,
it's hit a point now where I'm like,
yeah,
I
I
think they
was,
just gotta
yeah,
wait.
yeah. They're just like there. Yeah, I was. There's actually a one of the knuckle up drivers I was talking to this week, and he was like, dude, March is coming quick, and like I have to figure out what car I'm gonna drive. Like I don't know which one. I think I'm just gonna like pick this one, and I need to like sell everything else, like sell all my other cars, and just focus on one. And I was like, yeah, like it's way easier to like focus on one car that needs something than like trying to like do this balancing act. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, it's very hard. Like I
it
knew
is.
that when I was hesitant to even post like when I got the coupe shell.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, I'm not gonna ever get this thing running. Like
Yeah.
it's a totally, it was a stock car that somebody did exactly what Kev was saying in the chat earlier. Like somebody bought that car stock and they're like, I'm gonna build this. They pulled the engine and tore it all apart and tore the interior out halfway,
Yep.
and then they just sold it.
Yep.
So
Buy
I
car,
was
pull
like,
motor, skip, sell on Facebook
yeah,
Marketplace
yeah, exactly.
is the
So and it was on
quintessential.
Facebook Marketplace. That's where I
Yeah.
got it. So it
Yeah,
was that
dude. That's just
exact
how it is.
deal.
And like even like yeah, dude. Like you built that car like I don't know. You partied out with like 4 or 5 cars.
I think 6.
Yeah, I mean it was quite a bit, and like you had everything that you needed for the car, and I was like, holy shit, like he's really doing this. I didn't think you were gonna do it. I was like, dude, I don't know how this guy is juggling, gonna be a dad, working, and like pull this shit off because whenever I was doing parts world stuff, I was like working and like having to like part these cars out, and then I was like, I mean, it was like time consuming. I was like, dude, I have no idea. But, you know, I guess if you're motivated, you can accomplish anything. So,
I don't know. Yeah, I think like it really was like the perfect storm for that car to come together at all. I mean, I know
yeah.
it's not done, but like I I never was really even into coupes, and then just in the last like 3 years or so, I started like, and coupes are really cool. Like it'd be
Yep.
really cool to have one of each, which I think
Yeah.
everybody hits that point eventually.
Yeah.
Um, Everybody's usually like diehard coupe or hatch or whatever,
Right.
and then like hits that point eventually where it's like, man, they're both really cool.
Yep.
And it felt like my window of opportunity to ever have that was closing like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, I was like, I'm not going to find, there aren't going to be any coupes left. Like, there's not going to be S13s left. Um, and I started thinking about like, how can I get a shell and just kind of sit on it until I can get time for it or whatever. And that one came up on Marketplace, and my buddy Tim was looking for some KA motors because he was building a second S13 for a drift car
Yep.
because taken him so long to build his show car, nice car,
Yeah.
hash, that he was like, "Oh, I just want to go drifting. I'm gonna build this
Yep.
like total pile of crap car now or whatever." So he wanted KAs for it. This dude had two dual cam KAs with the shell, and most of the parts or whatever for the car was just torn apart, and he didn't want to deal with it
Yeah.
uh, for $1,200.
Cheap.
So I was like, Tim, like, go get it for me because I have kids and a wife, and I can't like. He's
Yep.
married too, but he doesn't have kids yet,
Yeah.
so got a
Dicks.
truck and trailer. So I was like, yeah, I was like, dude, drive down to Indiana for me. I'll split it with you. Haul this stuff home. He's got a barn. He's got a couple barns at like one at his house, one at his parents and stuff.
Yep.
So I was like, can you get this stuff home and I can sell all this stuff on Instagram? And he's not really in touch with like, he doesn't really do social media and he doesn't know what parts sell for or anything like that. So he went and got all the crap for us, and I was able to sell all the stuff we didn't want so that he got the motors and I got the shell for free. So
Hustling.
and I didn't get in trouble for having another car, even though it's not fully a car, it's just a shell, but I could justify it as like, hey, like I got it. I don't have any money to it. I actually made like $100 and I have this shell now.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm just gonna find somewhere to keep it and I'll just sit on it until I can do something with it someday.
Yep.
Which I kind of knew, like,
Yeah.
I don't have patience for that. So.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, and then I just kept finding, I didn't expect to find cars, and I just kept finding all these cars that were good deals. And I also didn't expect the demand that there was for all the parts. Like,
yeah, that was crazy.
every single little part. And I kept finding all these cars that in Michigan, they had no frame rails left. Like, they're completely rotted out. But they were untouched otherwise. So it was like every screw was in the interior, every panel. We don't really get cracked dashes very often up here because it's sun's not as big of a deal. So like dashes were going for a lot, and I just kept posting parts, like every little part off the car. And every time I parted out a car, I would try to like post it for a few dollars more because it was all selling the same day. And I guess it was a lot of people that were trying to restore these cars that you can't get some of that stuff anymore. And especially it really surprised me that the interior stuff ended up being the bulk of like the money I got back.
That like I was so jealous whenever we were both parting out cars because like that just goes back to like the influencers, right? The people are just going to follow the people and like kind of do what they do because that's what they're interested in. So it was like blatantly obvious that like your followers were buying the interior parts because the shit you were selling, I was just throwing away because I couldn't sell it and it was taking up space, and I was just like, you know, like I'm never gonna sell it. Like there was no market for that kind of stuff here. I would sell stuff here and there, or like, if you had already sold it, you would like send me their person, right? And then like, you know, I would make a couple sales here and there, but it was just like it was so mind blowing that like the people that were following you were like buying these things where I was just like I would list them for like if you had a $40 part, I was just trying to sell it for like 20, 25, and I would get no hits. And it was just like it was like super frustrating for me. But also I was finding cars with like more aftermarket parts or SRs and stuff like that, and I was able to sell that stuff where you were, you know, majority of the time buying like complete cars kind of thing, and just not nickel and diming them. So, but it was just,
and it's
crazy time.
Yeah, and it was very interesting to me too because like I couldn't sell anything local. Like I'm completely disconnected from any kind of car scene in Michigan. Like I don't go to meets anymore, and that's a couple of Chicago guys asked me about balancing
dad life with
dad life with car life.
Yeah,
and that's a big part of it. Like I used to, or Alicia and I would go to meets, or like I don't know, like people go to Woodward near Detroit out here on the weekends, and just like mostly like muscle cars, but there's a lot of imports there too and stuff that cruise around. And like I'm so disconnected. Like I haven't been to anything like that in years and years and years. I just go to Final Bout and like that's it. So I couldn't like I never could have sold any of that stuff locally. Like nobody would buy interior parts or like I think for the most part, everybody in Michigan, I don't want to speak for everybody because there's some really awesome cars
Yeah.
and stuff here, S13s, but a lot of people, it's like, oh, we go to the local oval track and drift and we don't use interiors. We don't make cars
Right.
stylish. And that's not everybody, but that's like usually the impression I get. So I just don't even, it's a
Yeah.
combination of that. I don't have time. I don't have time to go
Sure. No,
car
absolutely.
stuff. I just drive to work or whatever. So I I appreciate everybody that like bought stuff and follows my page because I couldn't have I literally shipped everything. Like anytime I had to sell like a shell or like fenders or like big parts, I was like, I'm not gonna get anything for this because
Yeah.
nobody here is gonna buy it. Like
Yeah. That was like one thing that was like very fortunate was like I was able to sell the shells or like I literally was trying to give away shells because I needed them out of the warehouse and people were like wanting to buy them or like would pay for me to deliver them because I'm in Houston, I'm in the city, so like I had the abilities to like move shit around like that. But
that's yeah, it's like couldn't be more opposite, I think, from like
right,
Houston to where I'm at.
we were literally doing the exact same thing, and it was like the complete opposite, which is like mind blowing to me because I was like, dude, if we could just like literally like combine, it would we would have all the spectrums covered. It would be like the perfect thing, and it just like But then we got COVID and shit like that happen, and you're no longer able to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, dude, it
Right.
was just like it was wild, and I don't think I'll ever like do that again. I don't think I will be able to ever do what I did like that
Yeah.
ever again. Like it
Yeah.
was such a like you said, a perfect storm for that like year and a half where I like fucking dude, I could pull up the spreadsheet and count how many cars, but I have no idea. No idea. It was weird.
I had that stretch. I never intended on doing that. Like it really after I got that shell for free, it wasn't I think it was pretty soon after I found that like dark red coupe that I got that's the SR swap that's in the coupe now.
Yes.
I found that for sale and I was like, dang, I could end up with a free SR swap out of this if I part this one out.
Yep.
And that was really like I was like, I'm just gonna do this one, keep the SR, and I'll slowly take my time, like
Yeah.
refreshing
Just
it,
yep.
doing a gasket kit, and I won't get all the supporting stuff to make it run for years or
Yeah,
whatever.
but
But at
then you
least I'll
got
have the
everything.
right. But then it just kept like cars just kept popping up. Is the weirdest. Like
Yeah, dude.
I haven't seen any in the
I
last year. Like
yeah.
I haven't looked that much, but
I think it's the that uh that thing is like when you don't notice it, you don't see it, but once you notice it, then you see it all the time. But since we're not
yeah,
looking, we never see them now. But when we were looking, we would find them all the time. So
right. And people would message me all the time too and be like, where are you finding all these cars? Like, how are you finding these cars? And all of them pretty much, I think all of them were just from Facebook Marketplace,
oh,
which like,
wrong. Oops. I fucking up. I was trying to show the um God dang it. I was go ahead, you're good.
oh, you're trying to show the spreadsheet?
Yeah, now I don't know how to fucking get back to us. Oh, here it is. Oh, no, that's not us. Why isn't it? I don't know. Oh, there it goes. Thank you. Yeah, I was just trying to show the spreadsheet and show how many cars that I probably parted out in the time, but it's all right.
Yeah, I and then I felt really conflicted about it because I was kind of this guy that's like talking about the community and stuff,
Yeah,
and, and I'm parting out cars, and I know people don't like that. But and everything looks great online, you know,
yeah,
like
yep,
cars look great in pictures
yep,
on Instagram, and so
yep.
people would really be like, "Wow, you're parting that out," but in reality, like I think every single one of those cars I parted out had no frame rails left at all. Like,
Dude, I used to get so much hate about parting the cars out, dude. And like people were like, "That's a perfectly good car. Like, why would you part that out?" Da 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 da. And it was like they never saw the like full story. They never saw that like the car like had a separated rear strut from the body. They didn't see like he got hit in the front and the front strut towers collapsed. They didn't see that it was like a total chassis. They didn't see like all this stuff that like when we parted these cars out, yeah, we sacrificed one car, but like at least two cars got better. You know, if
Right.
yeah, but realistically there was dozens of cars that got better because we were parting these cars out and like supplying parts that were missing, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And like yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. It is. It's funny to me that people got so upset about things that didn't concern them. And but you know, it is what it is. The chassis, like, people bitched at me whenever I crushed the chassis, and it was like, first of all, I'm not gonna sell that chassis because if some kid like buys it, puts it together, and the fucker like falls apart on him because he didn't know what he's doing, and he dies, I can't have that on my self conscious. Second of all, I spent my money on it. I can do what the fuck I want with that thing. Like, what's the difference between me recycling it and letting it sit and rot in my backyard for like 25 years? Like, it should not matter.
Yeah, and I had so many times where people would message me and be like, "You can fix the frame rails," and I was like, "Dude, it's not, nobody's gonna do that work." And I don't know. Wow, Slide on Kai's getting
Yeah,
mad over there.
yeah, he's upset we didn't acknowledge him. If
Yeah,
they
sorry,
weren't parted
man.
out, they'd be
But you're
completely
right.
canned. No, yeah,
You're right.
absolutely.
There are people that would fix frame rails. I get that for sure. I personally wouldn't want to start with a car that's like that. But I think there are people now that, if you look at like a 240Z, people save cars like that. Um, so maybe some of those cars could have been utilized later. But typically, if someone messaged me and they were like, "You can fix frame rails," I don't know why, and I would send them a picture of it, they'd be like, "Oh, never mind." Like,
Yeah, or
oh, that's
like,
gone. Whatever,
yeah, like I bought a car from Corpus Christi, and it was like driving. The guy had just like started driving it, and he had just like hit a speed bump or a pothole, and he heard like a crazy sound in the back of his car, and like go to find out, he like took apart the like interior, and like a body shop had pretty much just like riveted and like didn't even weld the strut tower because the car had been T-boned. They just had like bonded it all up, and then just they like riveted and screwed together the strut tower to like the quarter panel essentially. And it finally just like gave out, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm selling it. Like I used to drive it. You can still drive it, but like I was like, dude, no one's gonna drive that. No one's gonna be able to repair this." But the outside looked immaculate. It looked perfectly fine, you know.
Yeah.
And some kid like came and he's like, "Oh, my parents own a body shop. We can fix that." I said, "Okay, well, that's." They came in with a tow truck and took the car away. Never seen it since. But if they have the means to fix it, then I gave them a free shell, and they can do whatever they want with it. But man, dude, some of them were like fucking terrible.
Right. I tried. I never scrapped a shell just because I didn't have a truck and trailer to do it. But luckily, there was a kid in my neighborhood that's into cars that stopped by one night when I was out in the garage and talked to me, and he had a truck and a trailer. So anytime I sold most of the shells, but there were like two, I want to say maybe like two or three that nobody was buying them, and I needed them out. And it's like, you and your buddies can have this, and like if you want to try to sell it for more than I was asking, like you can literally do whatever you want with it. And it kind of, in a way, it kind of wasn't on my conscience. Like it wasn't like I crushed an S13.
Yeah.
I'm like giving it to somebody that he's gonna go get $50 for scrap or whatever. But I think they tried to sell them too, and it's like it's so hard to get people to follow through.
No,
like everybody
absolutely.
will be like, "Oh, don't crush that! Like I could use that," and it's like, "Oh yeah, come get it," and
Yep.
nobody will come
No,
get it.
yeah,
So it's like,
exactly.
I need this out of my garage, like. I don't know. I don't like having that attitude, but I do think like tons of people got parts for their cars that made cars better, like you said. And
Yeah.
so I definitely don't feel like I parted out a car that was like really nice. Or there's one of them. There's one of them I sold the shell that's like getting built up now by this really nice kid. It's not who I directly sold it to, but he moved down to Austin and he's like doing a really good job putting it back together. And yeah, so that one's like still going, but the one I got my SR swap out of, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's
Dude, yeah, it's just like people want to. I don't know. It's just people being people. I get it. You know, everyone wants to voice their opinion, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, like the car that Kev got his SR out of, the hatch. I sold that hatch. I don't even remember selling the hatch. I don't even remember it. But that car popped up for sale like a year ago or something like that with a KA running driving. I was like, holy shit, that's the first time I've ever seen it. We loaded
that's
up.
impressive.
I parted the very first car I parted out. I loaded up. This guy drove like 40 minutes up. Hey Zap. This guy drove like 40 miles up to our apartment with a U-Haul box truck, and three of us lifted up this bare shell into the back of a fucking box truck because this guy wanted this shell so bad. And I told him he could have it for free, and the dude insisted on paying me to hold it. And I was like, it's free, dude. Just take it. Like, as long as you'll be here, it's yours. And he wound up, like, paying me. I was like, dude, whatever. And, like, took it. And I'm sure that car is probably sitting in the side of someone's yard, covered in grass, rotting away. Because, you know, it's so hard to, like, come from, like, a bare shell to build something.
Yeah.
It's so expensive.
It's
like,
super hard.
It's crazy.
It's super hard to follow through. Like I really doubted that the coupe was ever gonna actually like start and move.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Like that was wild driving that car around the block and like thinking about what I got it as. I'm like it actually it's like I had taken the whole chassis harness out. Like it still was with it, but I was like, I'm never gonna get this all back together.
Right.
Working.
And like my thing was whenever I was like selling, if there was a good shell, I was like I would not like comb through like the buyers, but like I was really hoping like someone had like maybe gotten an accident and like totaled their car and they were just wanting to reshell or something like that, because then they would have like they would have everything. They would have two cars and just start moving shit over, right? Boom, 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 and they could like carry on where they were. I didn't want some kid to like realize, oh, here's a free shell or like a $50 or $100 shell, and oh, it's only $100. I could build a whole car for like $2,000 now. It's like, no, dude, like it's gonna cost you a lot more to piece everything together from this starting point to then, you know, instead of just spending the money from the get-go, and you know, just go from a solid starting point. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm glad I don't have to deal with that shit anymore. I mean, it was fun. It was like, I don't know. But
right. That's kind of how I feel too. Like, that's why I don't want to get rid of any of my stuff. Like, I feel at a pretty good point where, yeah, I want to paint both cars, but it's like, I have them, they're complete. They run and drive. Like, I don't know. There's kinks that need to be worked out. Of course, there's still things that I'd like to address or do.
Yeah.
But anything that's left, it's not gonna be like searching the ends of the earth,
right,
to make it happen, you know, or spending a ton of money. Like it's more or less there, and they'll get painted when they get painted. Like there's been opportunities where not many opportunities, but where I probably could have financially pulled off painting a car, but I can't justify the cost of that right now.
No, I mean, if they're just sitting, there's no point. Like, that's with, like, Logan doing all the body work on my car and painting it. I'm in, like, no rush because there's so much more that I still need. Like, all the little stuff that, like, I'm like, dude, I kind of don't really want to buy that shit right now. Like, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, like, I mean, once the car's done, then it's here and I start putting it together. Then I can start piecing this stuff together. But, like, for right now, it's just like, yeah, it's all good. Like, I don't, you know, there's no there's no like rush on it. Like,
Yeah.
when it gets done, it gets done. Like, it is what it is. So
And I should say, like, most of the time, I actually legitimately can't afford to paint my cars because I don't like when I think it gives like a false impression when nobody really talks about the money side of stuff, and I think it
yeah,
gives a false impression when people are like, yeah, I can't justify it right now, or like, I don't have time, or like, I think there's
if
a
you're broke,
lot.
baby, just say that. You
I think
know?
a lot of times that is, we all know that's the reason. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
extremely
not
difficult to
we're no
maintain this
yeah,
hobby.
not everyone is fucking rich. No one, not it's like, and people that are rich, they're not fucking around with these stupid ass cars.
Yeah,
So it's like,
yeah,
you know,
for sure. I don't know. So, but at the same time, too, from a justification standpoint, it is like my cars are sitting out in my garage. My kids are going in and out of there with scooters and power wheels all the time,
yep,
banging
banging shit up.
shovels into
Yep,
the side of it. Yeah, like all the time. And I mean, I run into them with stuff. It's
yeah,
like
they're there.
it just doesn't. I don't know. There's something like I think I'm concerned about the rust on my hatch, like along the windshield
Yeah,
where it's leaking water in it
yep.
now. Like that's pretty bad. Everybody thinks like, again, as you see my car online, it's like, oh, it's perfect. Like I want to have a hatch as perfect as yours. Like your attention to detail is so crazy. It's so perfect. And I'm like, it's
If
really not
if
at all.
only
Like,
you knew the magic of the internet.
right. And I've always tried to like get that across. I've always tried to like downplay it and not in a way. I think there are people that do have incredible cars that just talk bad about them all the time and just talk downplay.
Yeah,
But um, yeah, so that concerns me. Like I want to get that fixed, but there's something about the way I'm wired where I'm like, we've been through it a million times. I think I've done a great job. I haven't talked about it in quite a long time about
yeah,
like my anxiety of painting my cars
yeah,
or my main car, really,
yeah,
my hatch.
exactly.
But it's like paint is something I want to do one time,
Yeah, absolutely.
and I don't ever want to do it again. I
Yep,
want it, and I want to have a person that I trust that's
yep,
not going to take 5 years,
yep.
that's actually going to get it done and do it right, do it one time. Like I don't want to go to a Mako. I don't want to do whatever. So it's just going to have to wait, I guess. But
Apparently, I'm echoing, so I'm waiting for it to pass because it does this from time to time.
it'll pass.
Yeah, I don't know. No, like, yeah, absolutely.
But now I'm like, the coupe made it to a point I didn't really think it would. And now I'm like, well, geez, I got to paint that thing. It's like 8 colors. But I don't know. I talked to Alicia about it when I got it running, and she was like, "Well, you're not gonna like actually drive it looking like." I was like, "Dude, yeah, I'll drive that thing around." Like,
Stunting.
I don't know, but it's a tough call.
Yeah, I know. It's like, the skyline needs paint now because I'd like to refresh it, but like, I'm at the point where I'm like, dude, I could kind of get away with like just cleaning it up, honestly, and like, but I just put new fenders on it, so it needs paint. So I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. We'll see. But the hatch, I'm just like, it got to the point where it was just like, it'll happen whenever it happens. Like, I'm no rush, kind of thing. Like, I could have played it, 100 different times, but oh well.
Right?
So
Yeah, I don't know. I have all the stuff put away, like all the moldings and weather stripping and stuff for both cars, and like if I'm still into it by the time I'm in a place to financially do that, then it'll be sweet. And if not, then I don't think I'm going to lose anything at this point,
right,
money
yeah,
wise.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, dude, I don't even know. I like just the idea of just trying to get another car painted is just like, fuck, man. Like, both cars almost like a year to take to get painted, and I just like, I think that's just me being cheap. I should have just paid like 5, 6, 8 grand to get a car painted kind of thing. So it'd be done in like a week. But,
Right.
you know.
And that's it's funny too. Like I've had so many people over the years, like, oh, why don't you just learn body work? Like, do it yourself. And like, you like working on your car. Like, why don't you? And you don't trust anybody. Like, why don't you just do it yourself? But I can't. I can't bring myself to do body work.
Yeah,
Like,
me neither. I don't have the eye for detail, and I feel like body work and paint does. Like, because I know I'm very hard on my car, so I know like if I spend like X amount of money or whatever, then I'm just gonna like not drive it because I don't want it to get fucked up. So like once the 180's done, I'm honest to God throwing a fucking plastic cover on it and just sitting it in my garage. Like, I'm mentally, that's where I'm at with that thing. Like, it'll get done, it'll be cool. I'll drive it maybe once, twice, and then I'll just throw a plastic clear cover on it and let it sit.
yeah, that's what's really hard too. Like I've known so many people that, not so many people, but a lot of people that have gotten their cars painted and they're immaculate now, and they don't want to drive it. And my hatch is like perfect for looking presentable,
Yep.
but I can drive it 8 hours to final bout and
Yep.
not really stress about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm like, with
Like,
the Skyline, I'm 100% okay with like, I don't know, aero braking or like whatever, because that's what that car is meant to do. So,
right. And now it's like that's the other kind of factor of the cost of all this stuff going up is like I'm like, yeah, I'm really excited to drive my coupe to work next year because like my new job is it's like 50 miles
yep.
and it's a nice like highway cruise and I'm like that'll be really fun. And I'm like, dude, what if like I get in an accident? Like,
Yeah.
like I'm not just gonna buy another Sylvia front. Like,
No, like the brakes gone.
right.
Yeah, it's like
I'm like,
there's no point.
hey, I don't want to drive it, but I don't want to like that comes back to being a dad and doing this too. It's like I don't want these things just sitting in my garage for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we could obviously use those funds elsewhere,
Yep.
or lots of other things.
Dude,
And
yeah,
so,
absolutely. Like, yeah, that I think that's like how I felt too with like always just like sitting in a car for like 6 months and I'm like, dude, I literally didn't drive it. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Sell it. I'm not using it. And I have zero regrets every time I do it. Like that S14 that I bought and then sold it. I was like not doing anything. Like the super mint hatch, I was like, sell it, whatever. Like whenever I bought my car back, sat for months. I was like, I don't need this, sell it. So it's
right.
just like if I'm not using it, it's gone because I don't know. Maybe it's just like a yeah, I don't know,
Yeah, that's
minimalistic idea.
right. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting problem for
Yeah,
sure because it all comes down. Because at the same time, it's like I see people have a lot of like really rare parts like
yeah,
collected, but they don't have a card put it on or
yeah,
whatever. And that's that I totally get that being the thing that you're
yeah,
into of the hobby. Um, but I think sometimes like stuff gets hoarded or like put away, but then like you're just gonna be dead. Like you never did anything
yeah.
with it.
No, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like, I've even joked around with like after you posted that one car, the black hatch that sold for like whatever. I was like, dude, I'll hire a photographer, and if Logan thinks that this car is gonna come out the way he thinks it is, I will fucking put that bitch on Bring a Trailer. I have no problem. Like, I will set a reserve and just see if that motherfucker will sell for like exponential with like the parts that I have and shit like that. Like, I just want to see if it's possible just to like I don't know bring in a fucking I don't know 50 grand S13. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I definitely don't think of it as I've never really thought of it as like an investment.
me neither.
Or
No,
like
it's not. But
I mean I think you and I both are on the same page where we're like we do the hobby in a way where it's like I'm not gonna lose money. Like
yep,
and
absolutely.
that's a part of why the cars never get painted. It's like you can't part out a paint job. I
Sure
can't
fucking can't.
can't get my 3 or 4 or 5 grand back.
Nope.
Like it's
Nope. Not unless
but,
you built the money or you built the car where you're in the green. You know, like
right.
we would have to go back, part out some other cars, and then once you have that money, then we would go paint a car. But since we're not doing that, it is what it is. So
Right. And that's another thing too about I think almost I think it probably applied to like 90% of people trying to build an S13, especially for somebody with a family or with kids. It's like I always have a spreadsheet where I know what every part on that car is worth at X amount of time. So I know maybe not necessarily what I have in all the time, but I'm always tracking what can I get out if something catastrophic happens, if somebody in my family gets really sick or lose my job, or like who knows what, you gotta be ready at the drop of a hat to let go of it. And that's kind of what I've always told Alicia is like, if it hit the fan for whatever reason, it's like I'm gonna have no problem with it going. Like obviously I'm gonna be very upset, but that's always the priority. And I've like had cardboard boxes hoarded in my basement for years. Like just any package we get, I'll just toss the box in the basement. Just in case like something hit the fan in a matter of days. I need a few grand like now. Obviously I think any sound-minded financial type person is going to tell you shouldn't be building one of these cars
right from the get-go.
If you don't have enough. I have no business having these cars. Like I'd be so much better off from a financial standpoint, as most people would say, if all that money was sitting in my savings account in case I lose my job or something. It's so hard. And I think it's really easy to look at somebody's life online, just be like, oh, he's got a nice house and nice 240 and kids, like he must be rich or whatever. And it's like, they're still just as on the edge as just about anybody else. And there's definitely exceptions to that. There's people that do have the means to do that safely and whatever. But I think that's a reality that's not often discussed.
Yeah, I think it's not. It just goes to the glitz and glamour of being online kind of thing. Like, they see just dumping money, but they might not see someone who's just like maxing out credit cards, or like the person that like is eating ramen every day. It's like that's so not healthy. So like you're literally putting your body like in a bad spot because you want this like car, and I don't know.
Yeah, and I think when you're younger, it's like kind of a cool thing. Like it's sort of edgy. Like it's like, yeah, I don't buy clothes or like go out to eat, or like I don't have a girlfriend because like I need my money for my car. Like I was a nerd like that. I would say edgy type stuff like that when I was younger. But then it like hits a point in life where you're like, well, not really. Like that's not.
Yeah, like priorities change.
That's not
and,
really.
Like you kind of realize like over time, it's like, all right, dude, like, what's the end goal here? What do you just, I don't know. What's the end game? And I don't know. I don't think people look that far ahead. Like, what is, what's the goal, right? Like where's the 5-10 year plan for these things? Like whenever you first get into it, they, a lot of kids, they don't comprehend or not used to thinking that far ahead kind of thing. So they just, live in the moment, and
I definitely did. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Like, whenever I built the S13 the first time, it like built that car in 6 months, and it was like all aero painted, wheels, coilovers, all the cool knickknacks, seats, miracle crossbar, yada yada yada. Got it all done, and then drove it, and I was like, okay, well, what next? Oh, let's go SR, still other stuff. So,
yeah, I'm definitely somebody that enjoys the process of building a car.
No, absolutely,
way more than anything I do with it.
Yeah.
And even now, that process has become narrowed down. Not building a car, building an S13. It's literally doing the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
But I think like starting with something that is like a pile of crap that like most people would not be able to do anything with, and I just love the research process and
The research is by
yeah,
far the best, in my opinion.
yeah, and
Just
it's
like,
having a vision for what you want and planning it all out and
yeah,
planning out what you need and tracking down all the stuff that's hard to find and it shows up in the mail and it's awesome and you toss it on the car and you step back and you can get that feeling of the car starting up for the first time or seeing it pull out of the garage the first time. Like I think that's the feeling. It's kind of like a drug, right? As cheesy as that is, like
no, it's you're
I think that's
chasing
the
euphoria. It's the same thing that we were talking about, like with Knuckle Up. You were like, we're chasing this feeling, and it's just a drug.
right.
Yeah, it's
That's
absolutely
like
a
what
drug.
that's what I enjoy. And yeah, it's I really enjoy talking to people about the cars and just like geeking out and having good conversations and meeting cool people. Um, but and I like driving it, but I think that's another thing that's not very represented very realistically. Like if you go on my Instagram, you're just a person going on my Instagram, like you would think I have like 8 sets of wheels and I just change my car up and I just drive it every day. Like, but it's like I haven't even driven my hatch in like a year and a half.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's just like just sitting there.
especially with COVID, like none of us, I mean, you guys are doing stuff in Texas, but most people like aren't actually doing much of anything. And it's all just like, I think that's a thing that's like misrepresented with these cars, but like project cars in general and drifting. Like kids go online and they just see all these people that they look up to with really cool cars and like they see them posting all the time and they're like, man, that's awesome. Like I want that. But it's like they don't actually have that. Like it's like what percentage of the
Yeah,
time are you actually driving your
right.
car or like what percentage like I think Street Style J, like that dude's unbelievable how much he drives that car.
Yeah, dude, he drives it all the fucking time. Like he bought a brand new Chevy pickup, and he still drives his Sylvia or his S13 like
Like
around.
every day.
Yeah, I'm like, holy shit, dude. But also like, he's owned that car for a long time, and like probably went through it, and like knows exactly what if anything goes wrong, that's what it is, and you know, it just works, kind of thing. So
Yeah. Yeah, that thing, I think he started at the same kind of stage that I did with my coupe. Like it was just a shell.
yeah,
Um, so you're right. Like every single piece on it, he put it there, and it's like he
yeah,
knows
yeah. He knows the ins and outs of it.
exactly
So
how.
yeah, it's
But even like his aero setup and wheels and tires and stuff to drive that thing every
yeah,
day is
it's
just like
crazy.
bonkers.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's like in Oklahoma, so um yeah, dude, I don't know. But yeah, I think he's a very good example of like he just drives his car, and posts about it, and he's doing what he likes to do, so yeah.
Harris.
Yeah, Harris is finally in chat. He's at dinner eating pluckers with my real friends.
Wow, out to dinner.
Sheesh.
That's cool.
Yeah, it must be nice. Must be nice to afford a Corolla, a Porsche, another Porsche, a bunch of other cars, and go out to eat all the time. Nice.
Looking at the questions that we
Yes.
got.
Yeah, yeah. I went. That's what I was doing a moment ago. We've covered a lot of stuff because everything kind of intertwines. But I'm sure that
Right.
you got some more.
Um, why do people talk trash on KAs when they're actually good engines?
No replacement for displacement.
I think KAs have like made a major comeback.
I think so too because SRs.
Right. And all these other engine swaps too. Like I think there's so few of these cars running now when you buy one that people just want a simple drop-in
Yep.
solution.
Yep. And
And
yeah,
KA prices have gone bonkers too.
crazy, dude. Crazy. Like, I mean, like I don't know. Actually, I mean the last KA swap that I sold that was like radiator drive shaft. I think I sold for like almost $1,000, and that's what KAs are going for now. And it's
Yeah.
in retrospect, if you look at like if you piece out a transmission, drive shaft, radiator, harness, like yada yada yada, the whole stuff. I mean, that's a good deal for a running driving like engine that works. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think people they expect a lot from what from a little, you know, like I had a question last week of like, why don't we see SR20s in like Formula Drift? I'm like, well, because it's a engine that was put into a car that was supposed to be marketed to women from ages like 18 to 29 or 30. Like that's what a S chassis is. It's a female, like it's a, you know, marketed to female Japanese women, you know, like the engine was not engineered to make a bunch of power. Like you literally have to re-engineer the whole thing to exceed a bunch of stuff. And I think that's why people with KAs, they got a bad rep, because people were just like, oh, I'll slap a turbo on it and make, you know, X amount of horsepower. It's like, well, no, dude, that thing was designed to be put into small pickup trucks and to like tow, or like to put a load of like 1,800 pounds probably in the back of a fucking Frontier and put that around. Like that's what that engine was engineered for, you know. You just like, I think that's why I get a bad rep. I have no problem with the Ks, you know, just don't, you know, expect much out of them.
Yeah, I think it's crazy what the prices have done, because again, that's an S13, a main S13 part that was just thrown away for years and years and years.
People were just like, oh, $50, $100, you know, throw it away, blown up, you know, whatever, where you could have like saved the heads off of them, or, you know, whatever. And I mean, you can even see it now. Like there's companies in Australia that do those like billet blocks for like Jay-Z shit and like RBs. Like I don't think there'll ever be a market for like SR. I mean, there is. I think they make the SR billet blocks or something like that. But like at that point, like what the fuck are you trying to do? Like you're just trying to make 1,000 horsepower so you can say you make 1,000 horsepower. Well, you know, I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's weird to me.
Yeah, I think for me, it was like my background, the people around me that had S13s right before I got mine had SR swaps, and I just thought it was super cool.
Yeah.
I had my Solara, and like that was a car that was only sold in North America. So it's
Yes.
like you couldn't get a JDM Solara front end
Right.
or like
Right.
headlights or whatever.
Right.
So I really wanted a car that had that, just because I thought that was really cool.
Yep.
And that was a big draw for the S13. So obviously, like that was the cool thing at the time, was like, oh, I want the JDM engine, like I
Yeah.
want SR20 in it.
Yep.
Um, and the other thing for me was like I watched so many people with 4-cylinder Camrys try to supercharge and turbo them. And they always blew up,
Yep.
and it was always this like sketchy Frankenstein thing. And that just kind of beat into my brain, like if this engine didn't come forced induction from the factory, don't waste your time. Like, and I don't think that, you know, obviously everybody doesn't agree with that. There's really impressive KAT setups out there.
Yeah.
Like people I know that have really good ones or whatever. I personally, I wanted the Japanese option. I wanted like a factory turbo car that
Yep.
I could throw a fuel pump and exhaust on, and
Yeah.
it would rip, and you don't have to tune it. You don't have to worry about anything. I just didn't want to mess with that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have anything against KAs, especially like cars that still have the original KA in it or whatever. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
Like I'd be tempted if I got a really, yeah, I'd be tempted if I got a really clean S13 that was like stock and really nice and like running with a dual cam. Like I'd be tempted to just leave it in there.
Fuck
But
yeah, I would. I would, dude. The only reason I swapped, I mean, one of the main reasons I put an SR in the Skyline, because they look cool. Like the engine itself, I think they look really nice. Like, you know, that's just what it is.
700 in California for a KA now.
Dude, I wouldn't doubt it, dude. Jay-Z prices have gone up. Like everything's gone up, dude. That's why, like, I was having this. I had this thought after our conversations last week, was that like the whole, we'll eventually have to evolve, right? We will have to start, for lesser terms, accept the way things are becoming, right? Where someone asked, like they were in the chat and they were saying like, you know, if we don't accept like Mustangs, Camaros, Corvettes, Z's, yada yada yada, all these North American rear-wheel drive cars, that since these S chassis and older Japanese chassis are going away, that it might die out, right? We have to start accepting newer stuff, and I think maybe that's why like people that are doing these like K swaps and stuff like that, like those are, it's like you have to work with what we have. So if it's like if everyone keeps on blowing up these SRs, well, there has to be a different engine that we have to go with, and like that's why people are going back to KAs, because we have more KAs here than we do have SRs, and with importing, we really won't get that shit and stuff like that. So it's just, we just got to work with what we got kind of thing now, and we're starting to feel the effects, because I think COVID just like rapidly diminished a lot of things, and it caught up to us very quick. So it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I haven't really seen a lot of hate for KAs recently, so.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's as much of a thing anymore. And like, I know around here, it feels like, again, I'm really disconnected, but if anything, I'm on like Facebook Marketplace 240 page from Michigan.
Yeah.
Like no one has SRs. Like everybody talks trash about SRs here. Like,
yeah,
SRs just blow up. Like you got to run all these other engines and stuff.
Yeah, and I think SRs get that beef too. I think every engine kind of gets it too.
Yeah, I think what Kev's saying makes a lot of sense. Like, and what you just said about accepting like Mustangs and all these new cars, like I think you mean like as far as drifting, right?
Yeah, drifting. I'm sorry. Yeah, for like the knuckle up stuff. Yeah.
Right. Which like I don't know. I don't know that much about drifting, I guess, really. Like, but I don't know that that's totally the case. Like, I don't know that you do have to necessarily like accept that stuff. I think if you want to keep drifting in general going, then yes. But I feel like there might just be drifting groups. There's always going to be groups of people like you guys that are going to keep these same old cars going. You're going to keep that love going for those. And maybe it just turns into more of like these are like the vintage car drift guys.
Exactly.
Whatever. Like I don't know. I think like the argument of like you have to start accepting all these new cars is like so that it doesn't die. It's like, well, it's already died if everybody's moving on to those cars.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, that is an interesting.
But also, I was listening to Palmer's podcast again, because got to support the boy, and he had a episode with Mez from Wreckham, like the Australian dude, right? He does the podcast with Billy, and they were talking about that that they like the place where they drive stays open because the dudes that are driving these like Commodores or something like that and shit like that are just out there every week paying track fees and just driving, and they're the ones that are really keeping the places open because they're driving all the time. They don't give a shit what their car looks like. They just like they're whatever. And so those are the ones that are like essentially keeping the scene alive, where then you can have all your other divisions of drifting, whether it's like the Pro-Am guys or us. Like I really want to coin a new term for this like style of drifting, because I hate like being called like the style guys or the final bout guys or whatever. Like I really hope it turns into like some cool like you said, like vintage or like something like that, kind of like what they do with the muscle car stuff, right? They have like the vintage racing or whatever like that. Like Andrew knows a bunch of that shit, or like retro mod, like whatever. There's some kind of term that we could probably latch onto that coincides with the muscle car era that they've kind of like whatever. But yeah, after listening to that, I've realized that maybe we don't have to like, we can keep the gates closed, for lack of better words, and just keep doing our thing while we let other people, maybe it is because we have other people or other venues like driving at Speed Sports now, because that place needs to stay afloat, and the track owners like let other people hold events there. So yeah, it's a needed evil kind of thing, right? We need those people to go out there and do those kind of things, and as long as we're happy doing our thing and staying in our lane, well, yeah, they can stay in their lane, and we can wave at each other in traffic, kind of thing. So yeah, right. I think you're right. We just keep doing what we're doing. So
yeah, that's a very interesting thing that like I don't have a lot of. I've been into drifting for a while just purely because I'm into that style of
Yes.
ESX or whatever.
Yeah.
So going to like the final bout events was like the only place I could go where people like were even somewhat like-minded and had like similar looking or cool looking cars or like S13s at all, really. So it's like yeah, I'm a little outside on drifting, and I forget about like keeping the tracks open and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
It's a bunch of other stuff, but I don't know. It's all like I don't know. I guess it's stuff that I'm learning from hosting events now, but also like I'm sure people are learning this just like being drivers and whatnot.
right.
So yeah, I don't know.
Uh, Danny 40 ounce said, "Would y'all ever do AE86?"
I was hoping you would answer that question because um, you've tried. Well, not like tried, but you've had your eye set on one once.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that local one. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love those cars, but in a way, I think it's really beginning to show that those cars were like a window to the future for S13s.
Yes.
And
Absolutely. Oh, lost you. Oh, there you go.
sorry, I don't know what happened
Okay, you're back. BDJ says, "Here's the
here.
content," because we're talking about Corollas now. I don't even think 40's in right now. I don't even think he's listening, but maybe he'll listen later and he can
All right.
get hyped on Corolla stuff. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think they're super cool cars. I've never, obviously, like starting with a Toyota background, I thought they were cool. So I thought I'd stay with Toyotas forever. I don't know
Yeah.
why I think I was more drawn. I think even like when I got my S13 in like 2008, I think you wouldn't find 8086s around here really.
Yeah.
They were already like rotted out and gone. And like the 80s is like the whole like, isn't that the whole like oil crisis and all that stuff was like,
Yeah.
maybe that was the 70s. I don't know. But like, you don't own like foreign cars in Michigan. So like,
Yeah.
you probably would have gotten like chased out of the state if you had one of those for any period of time in the
That's
80s
funny.
or 90s.
Yeah.
So I don't think they really even exist here, but I think at this point I'll never own one, just because I don't think it would be possible if I got rid of my S13s, but I wouldn't want to enough to do that. Like I don't even know if it would be possible. Honestly, I don't know. I think the cost of that stuff is even more than
Yeah. It's
S13 stuff.
yeah, dude, dude, I don't know. I owned two of them back in I want to say like 2011. I I had bought I bought one. I bought an SR5 that was like super fucking mint, like extremely mint for $400. And like this dude's wife had like blown the head gasket on it because the radiator had cracked and she didn't know or whatever. So like we did the head gasket on it, like in like the driveway. We just threw another head gasket on it and wind up just like just overheating immediately, like because we didn't know what the fuck we were doing really. And so we like pulled the pulled the engine and traded the engine, the fucking 4AC single cam carbureted fucking engine, and like $800. I think I had $800. Traded the blown 4AC and $800 for a GTS Corolla. And I was going to swap all the GTS stuff over to the SR5 shell because it was mint. And I was like, it was like I was in school, I didn't have money, and I had like two cars sitting at my parents' house while I was like 4 or 5 hours away. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I need money. Like, I need money to eat, like, in school. Like, whatever. So I just, like, wind up selling them and, like, never dealing with them again. And I don't know. They were cool. They were super cool, but, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome to have one someday. I don't think it'll ever happen, but
Yeah.
I think they're super cool. I don't know a ton about them to be totally honest, but I
Yeah.
think like the big factor for me is like scarcity of them
Yeah.
and the NA thing. Like I don't know. Like
And
SR
it's
is
cool.
really.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I could handle like. I just don't know if it'd actually be that fun to own. Like if it, like, and I wouldn't want to like turbo it or something. I.
Right. No, it's cool. We can live vicariously through Harris and 40 now because they have them. And now that they
Yeah.
have them, I'm like, bro, I don't want one. They can have
Yeah.
those
I
damn
don't know.
things. I don't even
Yeah,
care.
they're really cool. But I'm like fully set in stone. Which like
Yeah.
I saw somebody in chat just ask me about my Evo.
Oh man, I love that thing.
Yeah, so as my order of cars, I had my Camry, my Solara, then I got my 180. It's not a 180, and hopefully Sam's not in here, so he doesn't flip out about me calling it a 180.
Oh yeah, fuck Sam. I'm just kidding. That's mean. I'm just
uh, yeah, so then I got my S13. I had that for 4 years. Had a kid, parted it out,
yeah.
sold the shell, got an Evo because it was like I have a kid, so I have to have a 4-door car now. I think I only had the Evo for like 2 years, but I never have a desire to have another Evo. Um, the
Which
car
is
was
weird
great.
to me.
Yeah,
That's
I
yeah.
never even really think about it, honestly.
Yeah. It's like I don't know. That car was like super cool. And it was like for a long time I thought that was like what you were going to be like famous for kind of thing. Because people would bring up the Evo all the time.
Yeah, it's weird. It still gets used in that picture of it in my driveway. Still gets used in like memes and stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
there's a,
Yeah.
there aren't like better Evos to use now. Like that's the pictures are still online somewhere. Like I don't even know where, but
Yeah.
um, it was a super fun car. I didn't really. The deal with buying the Evo with Alicia was like, I'm gonna get rid of my daily driver, and this is gonna be my only car.
Yeah.
'Cause that's still the most expensive car we've ever owned. Like I think I bought it for like 16 grand, and like even our family, like our minivan, we didn't pay
Yeah.
that much. I
Yeah.
paid like half that for our nicest car we've ever had. So
Yeah, it's crazy.
that's how I kind of justified it, and I got it with like 68,000 miles or something. It was my only car, so I drove it through the winter, which like was really stressful because salt, like I was just freaking out all the time, and it was really clean, so just constantly washing it like every day, trying to get the salt off it and stuff.
Fuck,
But
dude.
I think the second winter I had it was like the worst winter we'd had in like 60 years. So we got tons of snow, and it was like a total blast to drive it.
Yeah.
I think that one winter that I did it, because I had it for 2 winters, but I hadn't done that much stuff to it the first winter.
Yeah.
The second winter, it's like I took the coilovers off and put stock suspension back on. I took all the aero off, like tore it all apart so it wouldn't get trashed in the
Yeah.
winter, um, which was dumb. And like, I never had a single problem with it. Like,
That's sick.
yeah, I had it. I got it like just under 70,000 miles. And within like 2 years, it had 99,000. And the value of Evos was like, I don't know if it still is, but then it was like directly related to mileage.
Yeah.
So like as soon as you crossed over like 105,000 miles, the value dropped to like 5 grand.
Shit.
And so
We don't take no
I was
L's.
like, yeah, I was like, I got to get out of this thing like now because it's, I love this car, but it's got to go. Like I got to be done. And I never like, I just did like exhaust and aero and like wheels and stuff. Like I didn't do anything to make it not. I couldn't do anything that I couldn't do in like a weekend because I had to drive
Right.
it to work on Monday.
Right.
So
Just put a slew of
pretty
ARC
chill.
parts on.
Right, which I think like I don't know. I think that's like what made it hold up well. But I don't know. It was really fun, but I never. It really was like a 4-door S13, like
Yeah.
pretty much the same car in a lot of ways. But yeah, I never think about. I think they're worth like I think that car would cost more now than it did when I sold it in like 2016 or 15
I
or
think it was like
something.
I think it was 15 or something. Because I think you had your Evo at Final Bout 1, right? Because y'all were gonna take the Camry, or you were getting your car, or you had the GS or something like that.
Yeah, so the first final bout 2014.
14. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that that spring or like that winter, like I think in February or something. It was right before my middle daughter was born. I sold the Evo because I missed having a project.
Yeah.
I missed like the goals of building a car and stuff. I was like I blew through the Evo with like aero and stuff, and then I was like, I miss like going out in the garage and like working towards a goal for like 6 months and
Yeah.
like building a car.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I'll get this GS and 2J swap it and manual swap it, and like it'll be a family car still, but it'll be fast and like fun and all this stuff. So. And I'll get back to Toyota, and like I was trying to buy a running one, and oh hey Clayton, and this guy, like this local legend guy in town from Thailand, like he had like a right hand drive S14 and just like
Sick.
warehouse full of cars and stuff, and like it's kind of shady, like
Yeah.
none of it really made sense. Um, he had a GS 400 that he bought with a blown motor, and he won. I think I traded my AME tracers off of the Evo, which never even made it on. I bought them, and they never even made it on the car because I sold it in the middle of winter.
Sick.
I traded those wheels and tires for the GS and for the R154 trans.
Damn, dude, those things are so expensive now.
Worked out pretty good, I think.
Yeah, no shit.
That's definitely like the closest I got to losing money on a car too. Like I think, but I don't really know what I was thinking. But I mean, I think I got the manual swap done. I had the motor in and stuff, but like it hit a point where I was gonna go single turbo. I still needed a manifold, and of course I wanted like a truss manifold and all this like expensive stuff.
Yeah.
I was gonna have a downpipe built because it wasn't like an S13. Like it wasn't just plug and play. Like
right.
manual swap was a hassle.
Yeah, balls to the wall on that thing.
I was trying to be like Chob, and it's not easy at all. So it hit it right as it started to hit the point where I was like, even if I somehow did finish this and get it running, it's still ugly green, and it doesn't have aero, wheels and tires, suspension, doesn't have any of that stuff yet. And that was right about the time that I went to the first final bout and met you.
Yep.
And the one time I hung out with Teddy ever, pretty much. Yep. And and I saw my Lauren's car, the dude that I sold my Koki 180 Aero to when I parted my
parking lot. Yep.
Parking lot. So I saw my old Aero, and his car's black. So like that was literally my old Aero and stuff. And I was like, God, I just want my S13 back. So once I got that thing back, like I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah,
like
never again. 7. So it's funny that you brought up the final bout thing, because I was thinking about this before we were doing the podcast, that there's a statistic that if you are friends with someone for more than 7 years, you essentially become like lifetime friends.
Oh, okay.
Right? So like if you think about it, this is our year. If you think about it, if you have any like lifelong friends that you've known for like for a really long time, right? You can kind of figure out like, oh, okay, like it's been like 7 years. I'm like, fuck, I'm stuck with this motherfucker now. Like, damn it, kind of thing. So I thought it was funny because I was trying to think of the timeline of like your S13 and like the Evo and the GS and stuff like that. And I was like, I remember Final Bout 2014, we first met, and I was like, oh, it's 2021, it'll be 7 years. So like if me and Damon are like still talking to each other like for another like 6 months, then we've crossed the threshold, and now I'm stuck with them for the rest of my life.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Got to make it till Labor Day.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Labor Day. That's exactly right.
We'll see if we still make it.
Yeah, I'm gonna block you from everything now.
You probably will. I don't know.
Right now on my phone.
Yeah, I'll see if I kind of just did that one, like opinion of other chassis and cars that you've owned. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, there's some other ones that are like I mean, we're already like a little over 2 hours, and I don't know how late you want to stay up, but There was
I'm down
one
to
like,
rage, but if you
dude, I'm fucking, I'm down. I don't even care. There was one. It was like I think Ryan Lopez asked it. It was top 5 most important things for an S chassis owner to do, and then he said top 5 trends you'd like to see fade. But I think like, um, Kevin like he really pushes this statement is that um now the thing with any S chassis is that you have to restore the vehicle before you start modifying it. That's the number one thing you have to do. You have to restore the vehicle before like modifying it. And then from there it's just like it depends on what your goals are, if it's going to be drifting it or if it's going to be like just like driving it, there's you can go either way, but like regardless of like trying to top 5 or whatever, it's you have to restore the vehicle nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much took almost the same approach with my coupe as I did with when I got my hatch. The
Back,
difference,
yeah,
yeah, the difference, yeah, when I got it back is the exact same approach. Like, but um, I think like you're right. Like if my coupe started out like my hatch did, where it was actually already like a good color. No offense to the people that like the color of my coupe.
yeah,
But if that thing was like black, then I would have just gotten all my aero painted and I'd be done right now. But it's like the car's so old now that there's things that need to be addressed that you just can't really. It's almost impossible to get away without painting one at this point and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
everything's trashed on it. Like I think I don't know, or you're buying someone else's project now because it's so hard to find a stock one
Yeah,
that
yeah.
there's
Like
going to be a ton of stuff that you have to undo.
right, and I still feel like I mean, it's probably easier to like find a stock imported S chassis, but even then, there will still be things that you need to restore on that vehicle. But now that that car is from another country, now you have to go through those hurdles to find those parts to restore that vehicle. So like it's gonna be just as much work chasing down those like little intricate things if you import a vehicle than it is to like find a decent base here in the States and then trace down those things because the parts are more common here in the US. But regardless, like that mentality needs to be established for people who are coming in to the scene and you like thinking, oh yeah, I'll just buy this car and then I'll put a body kit on it or whatever. And like, no, dude, you literally should go through like the suspension, the engine, yada yada yada. And then once that car is like solid, like once you can make like a 3-hour round trip kind of thing, like then you can like I feel like you should be able to proceed to do whatever else you want.
Right. Yeah, it's a funny question now because it's like I look back, like Kev's talking about how um, actual like Koki 180s are going to become legal this year. Those things are going to be 20 grand. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So
at least.
yeah, like me and Damon had this conversation last year. It was, do we just part out everything, find a car, buy it, sit on it in Japan, and then ship it over because the price whenever they're like legal is going to jump up. But even when we were looking last year, the cars were like 15 grand, and that's for like a stock 180, and we would still want to like put most of them come 4 lug, so you'd still want to do like 5 lug. You want to put wheels on them, and then we do all our knickknacks and doodads and shit like that, and it's essentially the same vehicle that we have sitting, and it's just whether you want right hand drive or left hand drive. And after having a right hand drive vehicle, it's a little bit worse because the Skyline was never offered here in the States, but like chasing those parts, like dude, I've been looking for a fucking windshield for my car for over a year now. And like I didn't want to bite the bullet for spending $1,000 on a stupid fucking windshield, but now I have no choice. I've come to realize I have to spend $1,000 for a windshield because I imported some stupid right-hand drive car when I could have just like kept an S chassis and just like, whatever. So the idea of me wanting to buy like a left-hand or right-hand drive chassis is just like, it's overrated to me now. I'm jaded because I have one, but it's just not worth it in my opinion.
Right. And I think about that too. Like, my hatch when I got it was, let's see, it's a 93. So it was 15 years old when I got it. And like, it was trashed. Like, not trashed, but I had to go in and replace all the suspension bushings
Yep.
and completely redo the brakes and all that stuff. And, you and I got, I don't know that I actually was that close, but I was very emotionally invested in like, I need to just part out my car and import a real
Yeah, dude.
Pokey
No,
180 and just be.
I literally told you. I said if you do this, I will do it too. I was like fully
That's
set
right.
on it. I was like, if we're gonna do this, then let's just do it because I knew you were on the edge, and the only thing that like me pushing that concept was the paint because I knew we could probably
Yeah.
find a decent car with good paint, no like like whatever, and we had the spreadsheets, we had the numbers, we knew that it wouldn't cost us anything. It was just going to be time. It was going to be shitloads of time and probably headaches of parting out two vehicles and finding 180s and importing them and having to wait. Because also me having to sit on a car for a year or 6 months in Japan where it wasn't in mine, I'd be like, I don't need it. Like, what am I doing? Like, I should just like, sell that car while I'm sitting on it, kind of thing. But now look, I've fucking been waiting on my car for like 8 months. So I should have just like parted out and bought a 180.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know. It's hit a point now where it's like, yeah, those cars coming over, yeah, it's all original, but it's 25 years old. Like,
Yeah,
it's an old car, and that
yeah,
stuff, they didn't replace all the bushings in Japan. Like, they didn't do. You're doing the same thing as you are with a U.S. car, but you're starting with a car that's 15, 20 grand.
yeah,
Like, I can't afford to spend what I'm gonna have to pour into it to get it to a place where I want it.
yep,
Like, I gotta start with a $500 shell, and then I
right,
can pull it
right.
off.
And
But
that's another thing is like that's why whenever we were parting out cars, it was so lucrative because the demographic of people who were building and buying these cars, they can't afford the $15,000 cars, right? Now the older people who are getting back into it can, but the people that were selling the parts, they can afford the $500 shells and the $25 stock shitty S13 seats, or the $200 used coilovers and shit like that. But even us, we can't justify dropping like 15, 20 grand just to be like, oh yeah, let me go buy this car because I want it. Whenever it's like, oh, our wives want like new carpet in the house, or like, we need a minivan, or some shit like that.
yeah, it's. I also think for me, the era that I kind of got into cars and like grew up in, it was very cool to have a US car with like a bunch of JDM stuff done to it.
Yeah,
Like, you wanted to emulate Japan, and that garnered a lot of respect. It was like, wow, you have the full aero and the
yep,
engine and everything that the
yep,
car came with in Japan on your US car. That's
yep,
super cool.
yeah,
And I I don't not have respect for people that have an actual imported car. I just know myself, and I know if I imported a 180 and put suspension bushings, 5 lug, and wheels and coilovers on it, I'm going to instantly want to get rid of it. Like, there's just not as
right,
much. There's still a lot of work that needs to be
yeah,
done. I think it would be satisfying in a lot of ways to replace
yeah,
all the weather stripping and
yeah,
do all that stuff. But again, that's another one of those things where I'm at the point where I'm like, nope, never gonna happen. Like,
yeah,
I'm not importing a car.
yeah,
It's kind of, it's the same way I hit that point with drifting, right? Where I was gonna
yeah,
do that DJ
yep,
101, and you came into town, and
yep,
I didn't get my car done, and I bailed on doing it.
yeah,
Uh, just because that was it. Like, that was the realization where I was like, I'm never gonna drift, and I'm totally good with that.
yep.
Um, I'm
I
over it, and I
I
wanted to try it for years, and I never did it, and it hit a point where it's like, yep, I'm out,
yep,
I'm good,
yep. And
no desire to do it.
I think it's like the not the rubber band effect, but like the slingshot. I guess it's I don't know if there's a term for it, but it's like the slingshot effect, right? You get like so close to the point but then you just like let go and you travel the complete opposite direction so far away from it that you have no intention on going back. So it's just like, you know, you got so close to drifting and then you like gave up, done. All right, I have zero interest in doing that. We were so close to like importing real 180s, and then it was just like, nah, never mind, we don't need it. We have the exact same thing. Like we already have it. It's easier for us in the U.S. to just have our left-hand drive chassis with what we think is cool on the chassis. So.
Right, and you have this kind of built up. It's like anything, probably anything in life, really. But especially with these cars, you have this built up preconceived thing in your mind of what it would be like if you could just get to X point. Like it's like, oh, if I can just get there, like that'll be so awesome. And we have that opinion of like a real Koki 180. And I think it would be very cool in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, it's like the pictures we're looking at of these cars are 15 years old. Or 20 years. The pictures of them are that old. Like they're not like that anymore. Right. And yeah, you might find one that's mint. Are you going to spend 25 grand for it? No. Is that?
Yeah.
I don't know. You're not going to part it out to get your money back, and you're not going to sell it for that much. I mean, maybe you will. Seems like it's going up a lot, but yeah, it's hit that point now where I've like just fully accepted. I'm not. I think the process of importing a car seems really cool, but it's never going to happen. And you know, back in like 2011, 2012, when I had my hatch, I really wanted like an S15. I was like, yeah, when those are legal, like I'd really like to get an S15. And I've lost that totally too. Really? Like really cool cars, but I've just lost it. Like it's really weird being at a place where it's fully down to S13. It's just like,
I don't know.
That's all I have interest in anymore.
Anybody that like I talk to regularly, like my close friends, they know that like I'm very wishy-washy and like back and forth, and I'm like a pain in the ass to deal with. And so like Kev like, you know, chews my ass out all the time because I'll like the S14, right? I was like, oh dude, this is sick. Like I have this, you know, it'll be fine, yada yada yada. But like, I don't know. It's just like some animal instinct is like, I'll sell it, done, whatever. And like that kid that was gonna buy the S13 before I sent it off to paint, I was like, this is the line in the sand. I either sell this car right now, cash, sell it all, or I just like ship it to Logan's and get it painted or whatever. And you know, I really thought that car sold, and I was like, holy shit, I sold it. Like, Damon, sell your shit. Let's get real ones. Let's just like stop fucking around. Like, let's just get some, keep them stock, lowering them on, you know, coilovers, wheels, and let's just call it a day. And then the kid just like bailed, and I just shipped that shit off to fucking paint. And you know, I've made my decision, and now I'm just gonna commit to it. So
right, that's kind of how like when I had somebody offer me 17 grand and I keep my wheels for my coupe.
Yeah.
And like in the state that it's in right now, like this summer, and I was tempted not to like do that and get a Sylvia. Like I was like, I'll just get rid of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. It's something like I don't. Yeah, like if it was a Sylvia thing, then I would have been like, I don't know, dude. Like I think not the argument, but like the luster of right-hand drive. Like I think we've just come to realize like it's the same fucking car. It's the same fucking thing, dude. It's just like, you know.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. It's all very interesting now, like just the cost of all this stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I knew I wasn't truly tempted by that offer for the coupe. It blew me away for like what the car looks like, because you know, years ago when I got into this, that car would have been like a $5,000 car or something.
Right.
Everything's gone up so much. But I also knew that because the price of everything's gone up so much, that I knew just from my like having the spreadsheet that I'd get more than that if I part it.
Yep.
I was like, I'd probably get 20 if I part it, and I don't have to deal with seeing somebody with my car. Like that's always been kind of a thing for me too.
Absolutely. I don't know if that's like narcissistic or like whatever, but like I could not see someone else driving my car because you know, like it's just like, yeah,
I was just gonna say that I think it's probably a bad character trait and
I'm
like
sure it
goes
is.
against who I try to be, but like that's why I parted my hatch instead of selling it
No,
complete. But
absolutely.
also, if I sold my hatch complete in 2012, it would have been a $10,000 car,
Right. No,
and I
absolutely.
got over twice that parting it out. But I also kind of had in my head like if I sell this thing as a shell, it's never gonna be seen again.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And
That's absolutely. I've seen it time and time
the guy
again.
I sold it, right? The guy I sold it to was really cool, and he started building an LS1 for it, and he was gonna do the car right. Like he has a super nice Civic. Guy knows what he's doing, kind of thing. But it just was taking so long that it never even got driven when I didn't own it, and I got it right back. So I don't know, but yeah, I have that same feeling. I couldn't sell. I've never sold a
Complete car.
project car.
No.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I've never. Evo, I put it back as close to stock as I could.
Yeah. No. Like the only cars that I've sold complete are cars that I bought complete, like
Right.
untouched kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll never sell. Even I don't know. I don't know that it'll ever hit a point where they're worth enough that I'd think about it really, but it's still, at least for like what I've sold parts for, it's still the price of these cars still hasn't hit where it makes sense to sell it whole. Like you're still gonna make
Dude,
more.
I don't know, bro. Bring a trailer, dude. I'm putting my shit up on there just for shits and giggles. Like
Yeah,
I haven't looked into like what it costs. I think they take a percentage, but I will set a high reserve on like just to see if some dumb shit happens, and if someone buys that bitch, then it is gone.
yeah,
Just
yeah. I
just
know.
just like it is what it is.
I saw Ed ask about Broadfield.
Yes.
I think it's funny when I reference his stuff now because he taught me so much with these cars and inspired me so much. Like when I reference him to people in DMs, like they don't know who he is anymore.
Really.
Yeah, they're like, "What's Broadfield?" Like they don't. And I think like his, I don't know for sure. I think his like blog and stuff is gone. But he started doing the LS1 swap when I
Yep.
still had my car. I don't remember what year he started that. I think it was like 2011. I think it was like the year after we did our modified shoot.
Yeah.
And
I think so.
he put, when he took the chassis harness out, he took it out with bolt cutters. He cut the whole chassis harness out of the car and he was like, "I'm just gonna rewire it myself."
Holy shit.
Like, "I'm gonna just rewire it from scratch," like because he's an electrical dude. Like,
Yeah, no,
like
no, he was. Yeah, obviously.
Kyle was over there hanging out with him that night when they pulled the motor and stuff, and he just took bolt cutters the entire chassis harness and threw it in the trash.
Holy shit.
So I think even for him, I don't want to say he was in over his head because if anybody could have pulled it off, it would have been him.
Yeah.
I think he genuinely did kind of just lose interest in the car, but
Sure.
he's got kids. He has two daughters, and I think his business really took off with making the gauge clusters and stuff. Um, and that was his side business. And I think he just got so busy with that that he just didn't have time for his own car anymore. And then
Yeah.
I think he just kind of was over it. Like, um, I don't think he's had a car since. Like, I don't really talk to him much anymore. I still talk to Kyle, and I think he
Yeah.
talks to him occasionally.
Yeah.
But I mean, Toby was a decent amount older than me, so I kind of feel like he's past the car thing at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like once you get, if you're not in, you're not gonna jump back in, kind of thing.
Right, right. And I think I know he moved on to building like really crazy fish tanks for a while,
Yeah.
like saltwater tanks, and he was like a broad field of saltwater tanks online, and like people were paying him to build custom setups and
Yeah, I
stuff.
bet, dude.
I like car stuff,
That
but
goes like to the eye of like the details. Like anybody that's like talented like that can just like do a lot of amazing things regardless of the application.
right. There's not many people that. It's kind of some of the reasons I feel like an idiot sometimes for still trying to hang in there with a family and a mortgage and everything at the
Yeah.
age I'm at, because there's not many people that were into cars when I got into cars.
Yeah.
A lot of them are still friends, but they don't have cars anymore. Like
Right.
they've been out for years and years. Like there's not. I have a couple friends maybe that are still into it. And a lot of them are still into it, but don't have a car themselves, like a cool car.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, there's not many people that hang in there for that long. And I don't know if it's stupidity or if it's actually I'm just like really into it, but
I think you're just really into it. That's all.
it seems to be the case. I don't know. Like I think like I haven't really done anything in a while. Like
Yeah.
I put the coupe together last year and that was a good
Stopping
that was
point.
a good mental it was
Yeah.
a good mental thing for COVID.
Yeah.
Like spent the summer on furlough and like I could go out in the garage and work on my car. Still like not that much time because my kids were here. So it's like I can't really be like, hey babe, I'm going to work on my car for 8 hours today. Like, see ya. Good luck with the kids, you know, like
Right.
I think some relationships are like that, but mine's not. Like I think I do quite a bit around the house and for my
Yeah.
kids and stuff. So I didn't really have any more time than I usually have, and I also didn't know if I was losing my job, so I didn't really have a lot of confidence in. I'm gonna go buy all the stuff I need to finish my car. Um, so I don't know. It's hard to make it work, but
No, absolutely. And I've seen you over the years, and like I it kind of like mentally prep me or like what I need to do once I get to the next stage of life. So I'm just trying to like set my cars up and not fucking touch them. Just be like, as long as they turn on and they go, then it's fine. Like, I can enjoy my stock SR power drifting, and like if I have the 180, it can just sit in the car or the garage, or like if I want to like drive one of them every once in a while, then like that's that. But like my goal is just not to fuck with cars like after kids start coming and stuff. So
yeah, that makes sense. It's
yeah,
probably good to like plan to be in a place to plan to hold on to your cars when you have kids,
yeah,
and if you're in a place where that's okay, then you might get a year into it and you're like, I haven't touched it, I'm over it.
yeah. Could
Or
very well be. Yeah, I mean,
you still really enjoy it and you'll have that as an outlet. Like you still
yeah,
gotta have a hobby. You gotta have something
right,
that's free.
right. And that's what like me and Kayla have already talked about, like the knuckle up stuff. Like regardless if I don't do anything but knuckle up whenever we have kids, is like I can dictate the schedule, and I can be like, okay, like we're doing, like these are my set dates through the year. These are the days that I will not be available to do anything, kind of thing. But like every other day, I'm like, you can have me. That's fine, kind of thing. So I think I'm
Yeah.
trying to structure it fairly well where it works.
Yeah. And you still I think you still have a lot of time if you're still into it. Like
Right. No, absolutely. I think that's plenty of time to like do whatever I want to accomplish, kind of thing. But
yeah.
the goal is just to like set it and forget it, just like, oh, it's drifting time. Let me go turn the key and go drive, and like my car set up where it doesn't burn any tires, so I literally don't have to take like tools or anything, and like, yada yada yada, just make my life easier. So,
Right. Yeah, because I think especially with like one kid, I think just because I have three, that like one seems so easy now. Like I'm like,
yeah, I
oh,
bet.
one's no problem. When you have one, it doesn't feel that way. But
Well, the first
I
would.
think I still right, right. Yeah. But I mean, I have a few friends that are having kids right now, and a couple of them have S13s, and they're like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do anything with it anymore. And I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, but you still got time,
Oh
and
no, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, you definitely have to make sacrifices. Life's going to look different, but
Yep.
you actually end up with a lot of time in a lot of ways because once your kid goes to bed at night, you're not leaving the house.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not. So that, I start a podcast that keeps me at the house on Wednesday nights, and then, move the cars to the garage. Like, you know, again, I guess that's me, the older me, looking at what the 5-10 year plan is, and like just setting myself up so they're like, I don't have to leave the house, and the times I do leave the house is for drifting. So that's it.
right. Yeah, if you're into it, you make it work. And I think if you have a strong relationship with your spouse, then you can, they're going to be supportive even if they're not into it. Like, I think you and I both have wives that aren't into cars. And
Not at all.
um, I don't know. I just saw
Yeah,
somebody
I
in
was
the,
gonna read that question because I like taking like these kind of questions that are like it's like it's like a car question, but it takes it to like a deeper level. Like stuff that we can like relate to. Um, Zach's here too. Zach, I got a bot that was like 3 hours ago, and the moderator wasn't here to fucking fix it. So thanks, Zach. He was working on his car probably for the drift event. But anyways, Titan says balancing wives and cars. Every relationship is different, but heading towards getting engaged. What are your guys' wives thinking about buying car parts all the time? You want to go or me go?
um, I think what Clayton just said makes a lot of sense. Like, everything's got to be communicated. And I think even more than that is, I think over the years, like, we've hit a point where it's like the bills are getting paid. There's money put away for an emergency, and there's an understanding. I have to work hard for my wife to understand that if something hits the fan, it's all gone. Like we talked about earlier, it's like
Yep.
that'll be the first thing to go.
Yep.
If we got crazy medical bills or whatever, I mean, that's why I sold my silver TEs. Like that's why my 180's been sitting, is because we had a surprise medical bill with one of our kids that I wasn't comfortable with the amount of money we were going to have left in the bank, and that was the easiest thing to go.
Yep.
Um, and so that's what I did, and I put the car up for the summer, and this is the longest I've gone without driving it. But
Yep.
you have to be willing to do that, and I think that your spouse has a trust that you're willing to do that.
Yep.
But it wasn't always that way. Like it took us a long time to get to the point where it's like, especially now that it's been like 3.5 years, I think close to 4 years, that I'm the only income. My wife stays home with our kids now. So I think that shifted things a bit too, where it was like, let me handle the financials. This is on me. And I'm going to make sure everybody's taken care of. We have the things we need and the bills are paid. And any car part you see showing up outside of that is, you don't need to be stressed about it, because I wouldn't be doing it if I couldn't. That kind of thing. I don't know.
No, that's yeah. I think communication is a big key of it. There has to be like, um, I think the wife or the significant other needs to have their own hobby too, because I've seen instances where, um, the one person has their hobby and they get to go out and they have their fun, but whenever they come back, they kind of get guilt tripped into having that fun because that the significant other has no venue or avenue for having fun, right? So there has to be a balance of, you know, I get to have my fun, you get to have your fun, then we have fun together, kind of thing. But the car parts coming in, I think you covered it. My way of coping with that was I was saying, hey, look, like my goal is to not spend any money, any of my 9 to 5 job income on drifting. I started Parts World, I started parting out cars, and that was my main fund to pay for any drifting and stuff like that. So, you know, and then we put away money kind of stuff, and then like Kayla needed needed a new car, right? She needed a new car before she started driving to school, and so she didn't have the down payment, you know, or she didn't, whatever. So I took the money out of the car, like my car funds, and gave her them. Like I was like, hey, we'll use this money.
Yeah.
Hello, hello, hello,
Lost you like halfway.
hello. Am I back?
hear you now.
Oh, okay, we're good. All right. So, anyways, what I was saying is, I just took the money, out of the car fund. Echo is back. Damn it. I don't know what it does, dude. Maybe I gotta stop fucking with the mic, because maybe I just like touched the mic or something. Um. Uh. But anyways, yeah, I just like took the money out and we got the down payment on the vehicle and like whatever. But like, I I got to the point where my hobby could make money, and that I wouldn't have to. Yeah. So that's all. I just it's all about just good communication and like, yeah, it might look crazy when you're like shipping in shit like every day, building a car, but like, hey, this is play money. It was just like nothing that really took away from like what our essentials were.
Yeah, that's kind of the point I'm at too, and I think it's slowed down a lot. Like I don't really need to get as much stuff these days, or if I do, it's kind of something's being sold to cover it, kind of
Right.
thing.
Right.
Um,
Or you're going without. It's like.
right? Yeah, like the hatch is a lot more simple than it used to be in the old days. Uh, dang, that's bad. That's not good. But yeah, I don't know. I think like you said too, that's the only way I made the coupe happen was generating another source of income because I couldn't do it on my salary and keep the house running.
Yeah.
So I had to start parting out cars to make that happen, and was fortunate that it worked out. And I think I'm at the point now where I'm like pretty much done. Like I want to paint them someday, but I think the only thing that's going to tempt me now, like unless something changes where I'm just not into it, like I haven't done much in the garage. I'm trying to change that this year and
Yeah,
trying to get back
I see
to
you
it.
putting shit on your garage doors. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got to finish that this week. But yeah, I'm trying to get back out there and do stuff in the garage and get the cars ready and drive them this summer. And I think this will be the real test if that doesn't happen this year, or I don't end up working in the garage, then I'm probably done. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
dude.
Alicia's dad, my father-in-law, has been telling me like, yeah, don't get rid of your cars. Like you got to have your hobby or your outlet or your
Yep.
passion.
Yep.
And this stage of life that you're in is crazy. My wife was a part of a family of 3 kids, and so he kind of gets it. And he's like,
Yeah.
don't give up on that. You might need to set it aside for a bit. It
Yep.
might be you just don't have the passion or the energy to go out in the garage, but let it sit, and you'll probably be back to it. You'll probably regret it if you get out of it. But we're getting to the point where I'm like, if the prices of these cars keep going up and I can get my house paid off like 4 or 5 years early,
Fucking
that's going to
right.
be real tempting.
Hell yeah.
Like that, uh, man, that's going to be hard to. I don't know. I'm trying not to think that way, but I'm
Right.
like, that sounds nice. Like
Yeah, no shit. Big goal.
that's my big like, goal is to pay off the house like at a
Yeah.
young age. It'd be really cool.
Yeah, dude. That would be fantastic.
I see
Fuck.
everybody talking about my garage walls. That was
Yeah.
one of my questions. Uh, so my garage has a leak in it, and I noticed water coming through the drywall. I think years ago now,
Oh
and
shit.
in the ceiling. And I pulled that sheet of drywall out, and I can see like if it rains really hard from the north, I can see I have a bucket under it, and the water comes in. And I got the roof replaced on the whole house a couple years ago, and it still does it. So it's some kind of like siding flashing type issue that I don't understand because I'm not a home builder.
Yeah.
Um, so that's like the biggest thing that keeps me from painting my garage now, aside from just a lack of caring and motivation and finances for it.
Just go out there
Uh,
with a bunch of caulk and just like caulk it all up, dude.
done that a couple times on the roof,
Oh
but I can't
shit.
find it.
Damn it.
I hang out of my daughter's window and just caulk stuff, and it doesn't work. So
Damn it.
um, so there's a section of drywall missing in the ceiling, and that's why I never paint it because I'm like, well, I need to fix that first. It's honestly exact. I look at my garage the exact same way I look at like a car, and I get really discouraged because I'm like, well, to paint the walls, I have to fix the leak in the ceiling, and
Yeah.
I got to get the drywall done, then I gotta paint it, then I gotta coat the floor, then I gotta, insulate the garage door and do all this stuff. So then I just do nothing because I don't, I want it to be perfect and it's not going to be. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's how. I mean, same mentality applied to
I'm,
different applications.
right. I'm kind of motivated right now. Like I got that stuff for Christmas. I got the new seal for the bottom of the door.
Sick.
I got that on, and then I got the insulation halfway on the door. So I might actually be in a place this spring to like have somebody come out and fix the leak. Uh, if that happens, it could actually maybe get painted.
Dude, that's sick.
I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, maybe not. Who knows?
I don't know. It's kind of that's like my signature now. Is the unpainted walls.
Yeah,
like,
dude, you gotta rage it, man. Own it.
Yeah.
If you had to bring back one part from the dead, what would it be?
Ganondorf's.
Really?
Hands down.
Damn.
I don't know. Maybe that's dumb, but like
No,
that would
fine.
solve a lot of people's problems. Like
Yeah.
I think it could easily be done.
Yeah, dude, my thing, I saw this, I forgot what page, I don't know, some Facebook page, but I saw like three posts about Blitz 03s, right? Blitz is still a company. Why hasn't anybody reached out to Blitz, be like, hey, look at all these dumb Americans that are like wanting Blitz 03s. You can literally remanufacture them and sell them, and you'd probably sell out all the fucking time.
That's Ganondorf's still a company, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if Ganondorf's still around.
I thought they make like exhaust tips and stuff.
They might make like, I don't know, like minivan stuff, but like
I don't know. Yeah, I guess
Sam,
I shouldn't have
shut
jumped.
the fuck up. I don't want to hear your shit. I'm just saying, no, if you make them, they wouldn't be special. Then any fuckboy would get them. But I mean, also on the flip side, like more people would have them and their cars would look cooler with them. I get it, but like, I don't know. There's still companies that are out there that are still making these parts, and like no one has been like, I guess no one's like has the nuts. Maybe I'll do it. Fuck it, I'll do it, and I'll just start emailing these companies, be like, hey, look, Knuckle Up can be the official distributor of Ganondorf mirrors for all your shit, and I'll start making Blitz 03s again, and then just tax the fuck out of everybody, and then just be like, whatever. Because if they still make them, they must still own the rights, and if they don't own the rights, then the rights can be bought. Someone can buy the rights, and then you start remanufacturing. You just have to have a big enough investment. And with some like dumbass,
it's like Thrash, right?
Yeah, exactly. It should be the exact same thing as Thrash.
Yeah. I guess I probably shouldn't have jumped to Ganondorf.
I'm gonna start writing emails. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled. I apologize. I just get like, that's one thing for me is like people like wish and beg on stuff, and it's like, bro, have you tried to help yourself before like, you ask for help? Like there's avenues that people can try to, I don't know. I got him, so like,
yeah. I guess there's a lot of parts left that like I'm trying to think of like OEM parts that I would want. I mean, I think we're kind of seeing the reality of that question with that dude that's bringing over parts on Sylvia, like OEM stuff that everybody thought was discontinued, like Sylvia fenders and dashboards. Like he's getting all that stuff, but no one's buying it. Like,
yeah,
it's
because
like $1,800 dash.
Yeah, because he's like I'm trying to explain this as like manufacturing terms. He doesn't have a big enough investment to mass produce enough to lower the price. So he probably went in with like $25,000 to $40,000 and said, "Hey, I would like these made. How many can you make?" All right, well, we have to set up the tooling, set everything up. That's where your majority of the cost is. Materials and actually the manufacturing of the stuff is super cheap. Not super cheap, but it's cheaper than actually setting everything up, right? So sets it all up, makes them, boom, your $40,000. He probably has, I don't know, let's see, let's do the math. You said how much is he selling them for? I haven't seen the dashes.
I don't remember how much the dashes actually are. I just remember him posting. Oh, okay. I see somebody in the chat saying a lot of his stuff fell through. I think that's the guy I was thinking of. I haven't been on Sylvia since
Right.
I haven't been on there at all.
So say he blew 40 grand to make dashes, right? And he's selling them for 2 grand, right? That's 20 dashes, right? But he has to make a profit off of that. Depending on what his profit margin is, I would say he's probably trying to make at least 25% off of them. So maybe he made like 25, 30 dashes, selling them for, it's probably costing him $1,700, right? It's trying to sell them for 2 grand. That's pretty much what it is. He doesn't have a big enough initial investment to make it affordable for people. The same thing with his fenders, right? His fenders are $800 a pop, and I saw that like there was multiple sets that they didn't do the packaging right, and it bent the nose of the fenders.
Yeah, and they were gonna be they were like 800 or 900 or something for the Sylvia ones,
Yeah,
but it was gonna be like 1,300 shipped.
yeah, which
I,
is yeah. I mean, like I get it. People want that stuff, but like, um, it's just the actual manufacturing process is like I mean like this is just all speculation. This is just what like coming from my background on manufacturing things for the stuff that I do. It's a lot of the stuff is um the setup, like that's the initial investment, and I think he just doesn't have a big enough investment to purchase more items to lower down the price. Supply and demand. Yeah, that's all it is.
yeah, it was an interesting thing because a lot of the parts that he was getting, like I had tried to get from like Right Hand Drive Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and it would come back discontinued in Japan.
Right.
And I'd go through Streeter, and he'd check his contacts at Nissan, and it would be discontinued. But then this
Yeah.
guy was getting it, and I was like, how is that possible? Like I tried to get Sylvia fenders and stuff, and then he said it's coming from like Thailand or
Thailand or
something.
Taiwan or something like that. Right.
Yeah, and that kind of, as weird as it is, it's just the way my brain functions that like turned me off from it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, well, if this stuff's not coming from Japan, like I know it's marked Nissan and everything, and it's
Yeah.
got to be Nissan or something, but that just rubs me the wrong way. And for what the cost of it is, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'd rather have like, I think I got really lucky, but I think my Sylvia fenders, I have like $150 into the pair,
Yeah. You definitely
and
scored on those.
they're not perfect at all. And I had to buy a bunch of them to like, some that were banged up to get one good side or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't be able to do that again. But yeah, I think that's the problem with the whole like, oh, I wish Nissan would start making dashes again, or I wish they'd start making fenders. It's like most of us can't afford to pay what those things cost.
Yeah.
Like,
Like they're not gonna be cheap. They're not gonna be your $200 uncracked dash that you see on Facebook, dude. They're gonna be $1,000. Like they're gonna be very expensive, and Nissan's not gonna do that because they know there's no market for it.
yeah, I don't know. That whole thing was very interesting, and I also think it's very easy to get sucked into that whole thing. Um, the whole like finding all this new old stock or all
Yeah.
this buying everything new OEM,
Yeah.
and I think that kills a lot of builds, and I think it's really easy to start that to let snowballing. And I know
Yeah.
I got really into it a couple years ago with my hatch, and that's all I wanted to do was like got to collect every like OEM new piece I can get just to
Yep.
like try to restore this car. But at the end of the day, it's like you put all that stuff on and then you use it for a year, and then you're basically back where you were
Yeah.
for like a ton of money. Like I still have that stuff I found on eBay that I have sitting in the trunk of my hatch that's been in there for almost 2 years. That's like a brand new old stock center console, ashtray, and shifter trim.
Yeah.
It's all sitting in the trunk. I haven't installed it because I'm like, once I install it, it's not brand new. And I'm
Right.
like, is
It'll
somebody gonna
lose.
give
Yeah.
me like somebody give me $600 for this? Like
Yeah.
versus just putting it in and whatever.
Yeah.
So
To
there's
get
part of
the
me that's like,
same effect.
yeah, and once you use it, it's done. It's like it's the same with like my bricks, and like all the lights on the front of my Sylvia front are all brand new.
Yep.
Like that I squeaked in just before they got discontinued
Yep.
and gone and stuff. And every day I'm like, I can like double my money on these.
Yeah.
because I've
anytime.
mocked them up and like driven around the block, but they're still pretty much brand new. I still have the boxes. So like, should I just sell this stuff and get used ones, or
Yeah,
like,
and have
I
the
don't know.
exact same effect.
Right. Like
It's
no one's
just
gonna notice that you like got all the, I mean, some people might notice or whatever. It's got to be for your own satisfaction, but you have to have a lot of money to like start chasing that. And there's not many people. Like I think Brett down in Florida is like the only dude that's like successfully done that whole thing. I mean, not the only guy, but
yeah. No,
I
I
don't know.
just like I that's the thing for me is that like I said, I don't have an eye for detail. Like whatever, like I don't get like a I don't get bricked up over knowing like I have brand new window seals or like whatever. Like it literally gives me the exact same effect. It's just
Right.
like, there's no point for me to buy something brand new when it's $1,000 whenever like a slightly used one's 300. It's like, well,
Right.
that's $700 I could have just saved myself and whatever. So, but yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's easy to go down. It's really hard, especially if you have a certain mentality with trying to build a car. Like I
no,
had it with
right?
the coupe. It's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
hard to
yeah, yeah.
put
No, I
yourself
just
away from it, and it's never going to get done. If you try to do that, you're going to spend thousands of dollars and end up with a third of the way done car and get
yep,
sick of it and get rid of it.
yep,
So
yep. Because your brain will finally realize you're dumb. I'm
yeah,
just
you got to
kidding.
compromise
Yeah,
somewhere, I
there
guess.
is. There. You have to have a sense of reality and what it really is. I mean, it's
It's like what you and I talked about when you encouraged me when I was kind of at a crossroads last spring when I got the Model 5s for the hatch.
yeah,
And I wasn't really feeling them. And I was like, I could just sell those and buy the suspension and brakes and totally finish the coupe, like get it on the road with that money. But I'm going to get like Moog suspension stuff and like SPC arms and like not
yeah,
get the cool stuff I want, like
yeah,
not get all this Cusco and Nismo stuff.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, it's like you hit a point where it's like, I mean, that stuff's gonna function just fine
yeah.
for a street car.
Exactly.
Nobody's
Yeah.
gonna see the
No one will
overall.
fucking know. None. Yeah. It's just like unless you're like literally like posting pictures of like, oh, look at all this stuff that I've done, yada yada yada. It's like, most people will never see the fine details unless you show it to them. So like, you know,
Right.
what
That's how my hack was the first time around. Like it was like, oh, I only want Japanese parts on it. Like every
yeah,
like all the suspension arms,
yep,
Cusco, and I want a nice clutch. I don't want like a competition clutch because that's a
right,
U.S. part, and I don't want
yeah,
any of that. And I couldn't put the car back together the second time financially without the help of getting those kind of parts
right. No, absolutely.
through and stuff. And it was like once it's on the car, it's like, well, nobody even sees that. Like
Yeah,
it's still quality stuff. Like it's gonna hold up fine. It's not. I'm not saying go out and buy like eBay arms and all this stuff. Like still
no,
try to get a reputable
right. No, there's
thing.
a threshold. There's a threshold of companies that that have a good QA/QC system that will there's a threshold that if it's above this, then it'll perform the way it needs to, and it'll give you the exact same results. And then it's just like if you and there's nothing against people who want all this stuff, the highest price stuff or whatever, but I don't know. I like from my professional background, I guess professional, I don't know. Like I've seen enough things manufacturing and whatnot that like there's things that I've held in both my hands that have weighed, one thing was 10,000, one was 1,000, and it's the exact same fucking thing. It's someone that just like bought the 1,000 thing and just marked it up that much just to sell it because they could, because they worked the system, and they cut all the bullshit out, went to the middleman, or went to their source, and then they were able to essentially backtrack the middleman and be like, oh well, they're selling it for 10 grand. Well, I can sell it for 10 grand, but I'm going directly to source. I'm making more profit or more profit. That's all it is. So
Right. Yeah.
I
I
trust
don't
your
know.
mind.
It's maybe like a slippery slope. I'm not saying like just go
Right.
buy a bunch of junk parts. And
No, I'm not either.
I think when for anybody doing an S13 at this point, budget is going to be a factor,
Yep.
and you're not going to be able to have it all. So it's like I would rather devote the funds to the amount of parts I am going to have on the car. It's like I want to have all OEM aero. I want to
Yeah.
have nice wheels,
Yep.
and anything else. It's like if it's a reputable part and it'll get the job done. It might not be exactly what I dream of having or what I want to have, but cars are just a lot more basic than they used to be, and that's out of necessity to
Yep.
even be able to do it anymore.
I've simplified my car. Like there's a bunch of stuff that I've like had and like I've swapped to other stuff and like I've gotten the same results and yada yada yada. So it does, and it's also budget. If you can get away with wheeling and dealing and getting away with something that's a little bit less, cost wise, then it's smart. So.
Okay. Hot Road.
What?
Oh, this is it. Cole's the dude that has my Hot Road kit.
Oh,
in Ohio.
Yeah, Kev. We watched. Yeah, Kev fucking got his rocks off whenever Nismo restored that R32 for like $500,000. That was the dumbest thing ever. That's so dumb. Like that's not impressive to me. That's like that was such a waste. Maybe it was just for them to like shut up. Shut people up or whatever. What's my occupation?
I like what.
Huh?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
go ahead. Your occupation.
I'm a mechanical engineer. I was part of the QA QC team for Honda for a little bit, and then I went to oil and gas stuff. I did more. I was a quality engineer for a manufacturer for essentially pipe. Like just for layman's terms, like oil rig stuff or like whatever. And then I'm now a service shop manager for a pump company that we do like manufacturing, fabrication, distribution, and repairs and stuff. So, that's I don't know. Mechanical engineer is simple, but I do a lot of buying, selling stuff or manufacturing and whatnot. So I have ISIS arms. It's about time they replace them, but I've had zero issue with. Yeah, it's fine. Like I'm drama. It's like the ISIS stuff is fine. I think Kev has that shit too, and his shit's fine. If someone's getting on the ground to check your bushing brand, they're a weirdo. Facts.
I would have to interact with another human for that to happen. So.
Yeah, Clayton's right. Because I have on my hatch, I have the P2M arms, and they're the exact same as the Circuit Sport and the D-Max because I've sold both of those.
Yeah,
they're all the same.
I've noticed it with the lights too. Like I would just go buy. I'll just go buy whatever like clear side markers because they get all yellow after a couple years.
Yep.
Just go buy whatever like eBay ones that are cheap and they'd all be Junyan. And I'm like, this is all the same as D-Max, but D-Max is like 5 times the cost.
SPL's top tier, but that's because they build everything in the U.S., right? They're not. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna nerd out a little bit. You'd have to get like your origin of materials, like where they're getting their materials from, like the actual metal, whether that's from China or something like that. But you could, maybe you could request that stuff, but if they're getting like U.S. metal and fabricating their stuff in-house in the U.S., like their labor costs are more. That's why it's more expensive. Now they probably also do a little bit more quality control and R&D and whatnot, but you pay for it, right? I've held SPL arms and like ISR or whatever arms. SPL arms are better made, right? They're more beefier and stuff like that, but it's because they own their own company, really. So, I don't know. Hi, Momon.
He's asking me when I'm going to bed.
Oh, I mean, we're over 3 hours. We can definitely cut it off. That's fine. We're already at 10:23. It's 11:23 your time. So,
I can't believe anybody's even still on here. It's
dude,
pretty crazy.
well, it shows 40 viewers. I don't know. Sometimes it says that it's off. So,
Probably asleep if they're still here.
yeah, I think SPL's out of Austin or whatever they do, all that stuff. So, yeah, ISR is fine for a street car. It's fine. 40. Thanks, Karma. See, 40. Yeah, so I guess it's all right. Streamlabs does tell me 41, 40. That's fine.
Wild.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I've had, I don't think I've ever had anything crack, but like I've seen things just fail due to, just like dumb luck kind of thing. Like I don't know. It is what it is. So
I think if anything's ever fallen apart on my car, it's just been because of use your air.
need a mag particle test on that suspension arm so we know if there was any impurities or if the material wasn't properly checked. Let me know. I got a guy. He can do an NDE test, non-destructive. What's up? Rare cool wheels. What's your favorite, Damon? TE's LMGT4s. Done.
Yep.
Done.
I still want to conquer LM GT4s.
Dude, man, I got a set. What's up?
It's getting tough.
Yeah, dude, I sold that one set to Alex, and then I sold the second set, and the dude bailed, and Alex was like, "Don't sell. Do not sell. Like, save them and just wait for the price to go up." I said, "Okay." So
yeah,
Alex did a really good job like restoring the ones I sold him. So I think I'm gonna try my hand at like trying to like clean up these. So Damon, what do you think there is a market for that Bluetooth retro in OEM radios? I don't think anybody has an OEM radio that works.
Yeah, that dude Cole that's talking about that. He was talking about making a like the Nissan Maxima head unit, like I have in my hat,
Yep.
the double din, and like gutting the inside of it and making it play like through Bluetooth with your phone.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a working radio in either of my cars because I don't want an ugly radio. I just want a stock radio.
Yeah.
So I've just had nothing working for years. I think like that would be really cool. It sounds nice, but I also like my cars have stock speakers in them. Like I've never.
Right. And if you're going to upgrade your speakers, you're probably going to upgrade your radio.
Yeah, and I never gotten into car audio, so I just never do anything with it. And I think I'm at the point now where I'm just kind of like,
yeah.
Sometimes if we go on a road trip, my wife just brings her like Bose speaker, and we just use that. Can't really hear anything anyway.
Yeah,
so
the car's like, all loud and shit.
Yeah, so I don't know. I can't get that into like audio, so
right.
Some people might be into it.
David's still working on his car. He put a new water pump in, clutch fan, and thermostat. Beautiful. Excellent. Great work. Clayton, your Z1s, they're too expensive. That's why no one's buying them. They're nice. They're like, there's nothing getting them, but like, I don't know.
Maybe Z1 doesn't have the same following for some reason, I feel like.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, Blitz has a couple other style wheels that are really good, but I don't know.
I think super guys are into like Z1s, aren't they?
Dude, yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
I think like, all the like 4th gen super dudes are into like all the Blitz wheels.
You think it's a Blitz thing?
Yeah, like they were into 03s. Like there were tons of super guys that had like Blitz 03s, and that's where people were finding them. Like when I did mine, you'd find them cheap on like super forums.
Not anymore. Secret's out, bud.
Over. That's actually one quick thing I wanted to talk about. When you first mentioned YouTubers, and like I see people complain a lot about like, oh, Adam LZ got Ganadors, so they're $1 million now. Adam LZ got Blitz 03s, and Bert got Blitz 03s, and he's on Hoonigan or whatever. I don't think that's a real thing to like get bent out of shape about.
Right.
So like guys like, I don't want to say me, but like people before me, like BH and stuff.
Yes.
wanted TE37s and Kogi Aero because of guys like Corruptar and BH, like
Yep.
Jeeves.
Yep.
And so I sought out getting that stuff. And then I got it. And then I posted it.
Yep.
And then there's so many people that wanted it because of me.
Yep.
And it's like, I think that's the same thing. I think it's the natural, I see a lot of people that put together cars that are like, oh, these people made this stuff popular and now it's expensive. And it's like, well, anybody doing it makes it popular. Like if you do something and you do it well and you execute it well, then other people are naturally going to want to follow it. And that's just the way it is. Like I completely agree that it sucks. Like it sucks that you can never buy Blitz 03s again for a reasonable price. And maybe you will someday, I don't know. But I think it's just the natural way it is. Like if people execute things in a cool way and make it look cool, other people are going to want to do it and price is going to go up.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, like, I'm not really mad. I'm more not mad, but I think it's funny to complain that like I've had a lot of O3s, and like if I would have just held on to them, they'd be worth more now. But like, who would have?
Yeah.
It's like who would have known? That's like me if I would have held on to my Pokemon cards for 25 years. I would have been rolling in the money. Who would have known? You don't. So there, you can't get bent out of shape. You can't cry over spilt milk. Like there, it is what it is. So it's no big deal. But I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I'm not upset at like Hurt or Adam LZ or like any of the influencers for increasing price and stuff like that, because I don't think people put into account inflation as well over the years. Like, there could be times that it's just like, we just keep this price trend for so long and we don't adjust for inflation, and then someone marks it up and they sell it, and it's like, oh well, maybe that's just us like compensating for the lack of inflation over the years or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember I sold my Blitz 03s for 2,700 shipped.
Yeah.
And it was like mind blowing at the time.
Yeah. Dude, I literally sold those Blitz for $3,000 shipped over the summer.
That's right. Yeah. And,
yeah.
I mean, I guess I sold those in 2012, but I remember I had 1,800 into them.
Yeah.
Total. And so I made like $900 on it when I sold them, and I was blown away that like it went for that much. I remember when I was sourcing, like I pulled together like 10 Blitz 03s, and I kept the 4 that were the best specs for rebuilding.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the 4 that I kept, I sold the rest, and I spent like $100 on the 4 wheels I kept.
Yeah.
And so the rest of it was just literally the cost of rebuilding them. Like that was the $1,700 of getting them polished and new lips and barrels and rebuilt and everything. And
that's sick.
The process of 3-piece wheels is like, I never want to experience it again.
Yeah, I'm doing them now, and it seems to be fine, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think if you've got Phil, and then you'll be good. Like,
yeah.
I remember Phil knew somebody that was at VR Wheels when I did my Z2s, and that helped a lot. But I don't want to go through that hassle again.
Yeah, no, it's been fairly like the wheels show up at VR and they're like, hey, wheels are here. I was like, all right, cool. And then they're like, oh hey, your other set of wheels show up. Here they are. Are you ready for it? And then it was like, yeah, sure. Just like let me know. Like this is the size I want, and they're just gonna start cracking them out on. So it's been like super easy. So I don't know.
That's good. Yeah, I think when people try to do like ridiculous stuff to them, and they don't know anyone there, then it just kind of goes through the cracks, or like it can turn into a nightmare.
Yeah, it will. And like, I don't know. And I think people like, they really build them. I'm building them for what my car is set up for, but also they're resellable. Like I could sell this size and they'll fit on everything.
Yeah.
So, all right. You ready for bed?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, probably should.
All right. Yep. We're going to shut it down. It's bedtime, boys.
I think we got the thing now.
Yeah, dude. We're at 3:23 right now, recording live for 3 hours and 40 minutes. So it's about what it is.
Gosh.
So.
Wow.
We'll see next week.
I think we got to just about everything.
Yeah, I think so, and it was like natural. Like I didn't have to go through the list or anything like that, so it was pretty cool. Like people pretty much spot on what they wanted to hear and what we were going to talk about anytime. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, dude.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you again, everybody, for hanging out for another 3 hours on your Wednesdays.
I miss Harris too. I hope someday y'all will invite me into this with Harris and Kev.
Yeah, we'll have to do another one where we have everybody in it or whatever, and just shoot the
I
shit.
don't know, really. You guys can talk about drifting, and I'll just kind of hang out or something.
Nah, we'll talk about funny times that all the times you come visit. We can do some recollection about that. So, but dude, I still have to
Dude,
figure out
it's
a
coming up.
name for this thing, like the podcast. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. I need to see a thing, but I think next week I'm gonna try to have Zach on because I don't know.
Cool.
I don't Zach. I don't think anybody's really had Zach like sit down and talk. So it'll be kind of cool to yeah. So yeah, we'll
He's
see.
good at talking. Be
Yeah,
entertained.
it should be good time. But yeah, next time we'll have we'll have somebody else on it. Maybe that's whenever we do our like S13 like list and shit like that, like top builds or top things to do. Like really dive deep into it. So
Yeah, I would love to have an S13 chat with or 180 chat with Kev and kind of have like a relevant superstar in the 180 world, and then
yeah.
have like a sort of a washed up guy.
Yep, there you go.
Get our different perspective.
We'll have that in the coming weeks. That'll be a good one. So
Yeah, talk about his meteoric rise to fame.
perfect. Okay,
That's pretty
we're
cool.
done. We're out of here. Good night, everybody.
Thanks.
We will see you guys next
See ya.
time.
Thank you.